competitive at least. The Aurora does, yeah, does well into the Gwen. The Shy played it in the last round. I think he's 1 and 2 on the pick now. Locks it in again. Neither team having a great amount of engage. In fact, it's basically just a Flash Cyclone and Callista ultimate as in terms of your big engage. Yeah, Azir can occasionally shuffle. Quite hard to do that into a Cyclone. And there's your drafts for game 1. I think Weibo... Both of these teams spike really hard on one item for most of the map. There's like one member that doesn't. Messy crowd chance again. Noah bought some Sencha. It's way too grassy. Get Hojicha then, or Genmaicha is still pretty grassy as well. If it's too grassy, you might have overbrewed it. But I prefer Hojicha. It's the more it's roasted green tea. It's nice. So okay, a very important question, chat. What is the funniest outcome? What is the funniest outcome from this match? I think it's Weibo somehow winning everything to get to finals, then getting blasted 3-0 again, isn't it? And I mean of MSI. Wouldn't that be just the funniest?
Is it finals of MSI and losing again?
I think it might be funny to make another international event than losing the finals. I'm not sure. Or I mean, Rookie. The funniest event is obviously Rookie not making another international. I think that or he does, and it's his worst international of his since season 5 Worlds for him. Many questions we have.
How are we feeling about the draft, Sal?
No, basically anyway.
Oh no, there's not, is there? Oh, you got Callisterol. That counts.
Yes, and that's exactly what I said too. And it's like, well, that's the best you've got.
Rookie finds another really big shuffle.
This is exactly the thought process which I also went through. It says, well, you can maybe do this, but when you're looking for that kind... Look, let's be honest. When you go into that line of conversation, your answer is they still don't have engage. It's like, if you have to search that hard for it, they will have to search that hard engage.
Yeah, Alex, the problem here is, this is a very serious problem, is you're missing out on one very key factor of League of Legends.
Yes.
And somewhere out there, Don, Jake, and Jamada are about to start screaming. And that's the concept of aura. And the Shy, here with the Aurora top lane, but JJ on the period. This is an aura farming top side. You're here to just T-pose.
You're
smile at people.
not wrong. I mean, the Shy was effectively doing that his entire career on Weibo as well for his years on that roster. Breed's come in and, in fairness, done fairly similar things. Good early shove by the Shy, by the way. Very good early trade, getting the minions under tower and threatening another full combo trade. So Breed has to back very early on. The Aurora's passive makes it so hard to take extended trades where often the Gwen exceeds. So she can't even just all in this lane because the Shy's movement speed passive from the Aurora would be too much to deal with. Gets control over the early lane. Good shove in there. The other side of the map, though, much better. They saw a Callista locked in, immediately slammed Ezreal Karma, and they are getting the early push, and they've got a good CS lead with it.
That's the plan. And again, it's weird, because obviously Callista and Arthur are always the scary in lane, and they are. She's got very good ability to get a lot of poke down, and often got good ways to fight early, but they aren't necessarily the be-all and end-all of shove. I'd argue something like Ezreal Karma's got to be right up there as one of the premier shoving early lanes.
So, I'm aware this is something that we haven't done as much, like on the stream, because we've been, we've been vibing and chilling and stuff. But let's talk narratives and stuff.
Ooh,
let's talk narratives, because I think that's one of the most important things that we can quickly deliver some of these things about. We might have to do that in a bit. Tien's going to complete his research.
Yeah, we do, don't we? Tien's coming over. He's got Smite and all of the usual tools. It's going to be really annoying here. Look for a Smite fight. It's a lot of damage down GG. Try and nab away some of these bull skills. Over comes Ura as well, so I think JJ's going to have to try and Smite fight this. Doesn't necessarily get as much value there as I think he was hoping.
JJ gets everything.
Did manage to get the camps at least.
Yeah, Tien doesn't manage to steal anything. I don't think he got even a single small on there. He tried. He'll go towards the Gromp, but JJ... okay, so now he says, alright, okay, I'm probably losing Gromp. and starts going towards the enemy Grom. So it's going to be Grom for Grom trade. Gwen can't really respond in towards this top side. And this is one of those matchups I really wanted to talk about in terms of that narrative, because both of these junglers are Worlds winners, Tien and JJ. And for my money, JJ should win the World's Finals MVP as well, much like Tien was. The fact that both of them have had like down years and bits of their career where people have doubted them. Tien was subbed out, of course, for Bo, and then, you know, a whole bunch of stuff kind of happened to him negatively. He's wanted to have like that kind of real comeback, and of course he made he made the World Championship and MSI last year, and we were thinking, okay, maybe you can recover from the choker mentality. That, I think a lot of people are still yet to kind of remove that vision of him from their mind. JJ on the other side, I think he's been playing individually very, very well, but he hasn't had any of the success. You know, back in 23 spring when he was back on EDG, I still think he was the best jungler within the LPL. Him and Tien have had some fantastic form between them.
Potentially now a rookie in mid lane who is going to just sidestep the charm and should be just fine.
I'd imagine his EU was on cooldown, otherwise you probably take the safe way out there. Yep.
Get some damage down bot sides. And now Ura is just wandering up the river, not going to find all that much. Looks like he did. Look bot side now. As the Shy hops away with a flash actually on top of that ult, so it doesn't end up burning the additional summon.
Derek saying over in YouTube chat, never seen a Gwen with grasp before. You see it in difficult lanes, and you see it in ones where you know you need to have the extra sustain through laning phase. So we've seen it a little bit in this split, much in the same way that we've kind of seen a bunch of laners go towards grasp. It's surprisingly decent damage in lane and gives you better sustain than fleet footwork does nowadays. Was also then again giving you some extra HP to work through the rest of the game with. Now, of course, you don't get as much value against a ranged champion, but in that case, it's less about the HP stacking in a melee versus melee matchup, and more about just that sustain of, okay, it heals you basically with missing HP.
Big time. Still, the range versus melee match, it does get a bit obnoxious all the way. While that's really the case right now, because the Shy ended up in that one where you have to do that little flash away, and they have lane swapped out of it just early on. Again, the Kalista Renata is starting to get to that point where the early shove isn't as problematic to manage. Into Karma notoriously great before first back, and then afterwards, very dependent on how those first few levels went. We get interrupted here on the reset. They're going to interrupt that one. They have got bailouts to work with here. They might look for a dive here, actually. There goes the bailout. Handshake gets a bit of a snap. Tree Shot Rose comes on down. Gala's got the bailout to work with. They will lose one to the tower at the back end of it. Ura's coming on over. Gala going to try and find his way to hop around. JJ's coming, but he's going to have to leave it. And it ends up being a 1-for-1 in sorts.
Yeah, Gala and Maker can't pull off the dive quickly enough to get out. JJ will have to now hop over, goes to the W, but the charm's not cast yet.
Does miss the charm and ends up hitting a minion. Slightly awkward there. So you twisting your head a little bit disappointed in that angle.
Well, it's more of a, oh, I feel sorry for Xiaohu, because Neferi's dogs are one of the most annoying things to charm through. Because if you throw the charm at the dog tanks that charm. It will interrupt skill shots. Xiaohu doing a good job of not casting the charm early, but can't quite finish off the kill. They do get the flash out of JJ. Huge play out of Weibo, all the same. So it's a 1-for-1 overall, but with the Kalista dying and the Breed's Gwen kind of getting some gold out of a play they realistically shouldn't have, I think Weibo come out ahead.
Work for them. JJ now on the grubs. Doing his very best to be nabbing those away. That's the one who ends up with a bit more of the gold there, purely because he got the kill and didn't die. The big kill. It ended up only being a 1-for-1. Could have been a lot worse there for IG, for however messy it was. Gala now helping secure these grubs.
Getting the 3 grubs when you have the Aurora, who is very good at splitting the map and hitting towers. Could be a problem for Weibo, actually. So, something which IG will have to use powerfully. Don't know if they spot out her. They will know.
There was a bit of a conversation when Aurora was first released by some people trying out jungle and stuff. It was like, actually, is Nash's Tooth worth to buy on Aurora purely to get through those passive autos a bit more? And you can sort of see why you are looking for those side lane options and the power out of the autos. You can sort of get where that thought process came from. It's not really what we see on the Aurora these days. It tends to go towards
we saw
the ult builds, I suppose.
We saw a couple of Lich Bane builds, but it really, the Nash Tooth never really came down in the same way. Leandri's just better. PM getting into the enemy jungle again. Good farm advantage, wants to contest for as much as he can.
All over these walls, trying to fight them. See the last time, this time around, going to go for that smite fight again. JJ does second dance attack to work. Wins the second smite fight. Good hand so far from the Neferi.
Did lose a couple of mini wolves this time though, and really worth mentioning. You know, I was talking about JJ earlier, saying, well, he hadn't found the success, but he had been a very good jungler within the LPL. I think up until this split, I would have said he was the probably most consistent member of IG. That hasn't lasted into this split. I do actually think he's gone quite poor form in the last series or two. Of course, lost the first series versus BLG. Not going to throw a fault him too much for that. BLG were good, force of nature. But then you look at their series versus FPX when it did go to those 5 games. Yeah, JJ had some poor ones. He had a stinker or two. And a couple of the series in Group Ascendies had a stinker or two. So for him, a chance to face up against Tien. I think in the early games so far, I favor Tien actually. He's been doing well at getting up into the enemy jungle.
Let's call it out. Gala actually won a game on Kalista last series, which is a shock for him. He's not always been known as a big Kalista player. But did wield that one successfully last time out. Do it here against Weibo as well. Is down that 10 tier. But hey, Ezreal Karma got that from earlier. Hasn't changed so much since then. Well, I'll have a look at Rookie and Mako just going into the river, dropping some people down. This gaming in general, it's a bit of a weird team to track because, again, it's a team where you look at it and you go, yeah, every single one of these players is an international winner, a superstar of some sort, be that an MSI, be that a world champion. Across multiple different rosters. Actually, there are 4 world skins on that roster. The only person who doesn't have a world skin is Gala.
Who arguably should have one for his contributions to Kai'Sa, to the Kai'Sa Nation.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry, Uzi got his first. Maybe Gala, however many years down the road, maybe he can have it.
Has Gala got more? I think, but Gala will have the most international trophies because he's got more MSIs.
Yes, more than Uzi, yes. Yeah, he will do. However, like, again, the whole thing about Uzi is less about kind of like the titles, more about the inspiration. Yeah. And you know, you can't contend with his, you can't rather like undermine his peak level, which was absolutely insane.
Agree, and I'm aware I confused you there. I was thinking relative to the rest of IG was what I was also thinking.
Oh, right, yeah. Mako also has an MSI trophy, so actually I believe Gala and Mako have the same. So Mako has an MSI in Worlds, Gala has 2 MSIs.
Ah, there you go.
And then the others did not win a second international title yet.
That's the thing with this roster. You go, well, I kind of see what the ceiling is on this roster. It is really, really high. The issue I think we've all run into watching IG, and that IG have run into a lot more intimately, is they don't really have that deeper comp style pool. I don't want to say champion pool, but the way in which they play the game, the ways in which they can play the game has often felt a little bit limited, a little bit shallow, and they rely a lot more on hands and vibes than they necessarily do like astute compositional concepts and coordination.
You know, I think that's actually that's a common point between both teams. I feel like the last series that we've watched from both these teams in playoffs, half the time I'm coming out of draft saying, well, we'll see how it goes, or this is difficult, or we'll see how they can play this. They're not confidently, you know, slamming out like easy to play drafts with clear win conditions. They're playing around like a bit of hand stiff, a bit of comfort, and a bit of just giving themselves a bit of a mixed toolbox to like not play towards one condition, but just like try and play out through hands really. Like games like this, right? You have very little engage from both teams, but you do have good playmaking tools,
pretty much
good
everyone,
damage, pretty much everyone. Everyone is fairly self-sufficient, which can be a win condition in itself if you can manage them out.
It's just that little bit harder. But I remember we were having this conversation when IG drafted things like the Neferi with a load of mobility but not that much CC, and then we saw them really pick apart team fights by picking up all these wonderful different angles and winning the game off basically having fantastic flanking movements. Mako though might just instead not be being flanked but just straight against.
Wow, that's a lot of damage.
Straight dead. The Fate's Call keeps him alive. How much HP is he on? 12.
He was under 10 HP. We only got the highlights. Almost spots out the recall. Mako was under 10 HP, just about makes it out alive. Tien has been winning out the jungle matchup and quickly getting into plays. He's a good amount of camps ahead now of Jerjet. Gets flash and ultimate out of the bot lane. IG.
That leaves Nymaera in a fantastic position. Nymaera, one of those players we've been keeping our eyes on, has been in and out of the roster, been a rookie. He has been part of that revolving door, but came back in playoffs, had a fantastic debut series in playoffs, and then slightly shaky a second, but still looked pretty good. Here in this game so far, the Karma has been pairing up very well with this Ezreal to continue to force prio and allow this Wukong to be a menace.
Wukong now starting the Dragon. Xiaohu will come over. Tien been the real core of this early game so far. Valor and Mako tried their hands at a dive. They've fallen a bit of gold behind Light now. That's some summoners going forward. Mako doesn't have Flash, doesn't have the Cholesterol either. Flash forward from Light. You pull out the hostile takeover. I don't think it's going to be enough, and indeed it won't. But luckily, his teammate picks up a kill before he goes down.
Nicely done. That makes that the 1-for-1. Both supports end up falling down. I shouldn't have said anything about Era, should I? There we go. That was my fault. I can only apologize, rookie. You're not quite immune to the caster curses yet.
The Husky wanted a hug from the dog pack. It makes some sense.
Oh,
JJ and JJ picking up a kill there. Obviously very important for the Nymaera. It actually means he pulls ahead in gold in the individual jungle matchup. It's behind an XP still, but JJ gets a bit of a freebie there as Weibo didn't quite spot him on the map.
Do you remember when we did that Wimberway cover about Haru ganking people? I feel like we could do that just with Al who is the doggo ganking lane.
I think you can do it with Neferi. Yeah.
From the jungle, the blue side jungle,
well, it's in red
the
side.
Doggo ganks my lane.
Neferi gank. Sam, Neferi ganks my lane.
But Doggo's the actual name. Yeah,
no, but Sam, that's non-specific then at that point.
Fine.
You know?
Okay, fine. I hear your point. Yeah, right.
I have a certain standard of excellence.
I just wanted to get a musical awoo out, Alex.
Yes, Sam, you can do that, but I trust in your abilities. You can do better than this. Yeah, that's fine.
They gank my lane.
Yeah. And indeed, they might do that to Breathe. He's going bot side, the Shy's pushing in. But Breathe, turns out you can teach an old dog some, well, it's not even a new trick. It's an old dog with an old trick, knowing that, they've pulled this one on me before. Gonna be the bot lane tower being taken by IG, shared between the Aurora and the Callista.
Sam is a real one. Thank you, Calamity Kate. Exactly that. I appreciate it. I probably should have warmed up before going full falsetto, but here we are in the morning. I've had half an espresso. Sabrina Carpenter. I've only got Sabrina. There's no Carpenter as yet.
It's Sab Carp.
Yes, Sab Carp. Just this weird fish flopping on the table. Oh no! What have I done?
Yeah. What happens when you don't finish your espresso? That's what you're left with. It's kind of like,
or you end up with like new noir detective Rena Turner.
Rena Turner. Oh god. Okay, you tell me in chat. Would you prefer there be Sab Carp or Rena Turner? You tell us.
What was going on?
Out of all
the games of the Rift.
Of all the top lanes they had to walk into, they had to walk into mine. Rookie takes the top lane turret.
I'm actually crying. That's not helpful.
You know, JJ's died in his own jungle, and it's like, he's got his smite still in his wallet. It's a larceny.
He's the mid laner for a rogue. I know.
Oh my god. You know, if
Grand Larson E.
That's fantastic. That
I'm saving that one. You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
Steal it with my blessing.
I will do so. That's the end of that. That's all I've got for you, Sam. That's the material I've got planned.
None of this was planned, Alex. This was all improv.
Well,
come on, man.
That's what you think.
How's
Sam.
your improv sessions going?
Yes and.
Yes, and is that's the way out of this.
Yeah, no. So the thing that we learned in improv is, I know it is a very important matchup and stuff like that, but when you make a mistake, everyone cheers and goes, "You made a mistake," because it's fine to make mistakes, and you celebrate at least recognizing the fact you've done so. If that happened in the LPL, we would be non-stop applauding. It feels like sometimes with these teams, both had some harder roads towards this point. Weibo beating JDG, the third seed, and of course sending them down to the lower bracket where they ended up losing on this very stage, their home arena. JDG going out the earliest possible opportunity for themselves on their home stage, and Weibo were part of the architects of that. IG on the other side lost to BLG, beat FPX. Now both of them fighting off for a chance to face off the winner of Top Esports and WE in the next stage of the lower bracket. I believe they'd be top 4 at that point. This is so I guess there's technically 5th, 6th before that.
Look, all I'm saying now is, could you really have doubted Weibo? They have the King of Spring, the Emperor of the Split here on their roster. Not to go full LEC on everyone mentioning Kings. I've yet to go Legacies and Dynasties, so we're fine. And in fact, this is the LPL, it's China. Dynasties make more sense here than anywhere else.
That's very true. We should work on that. Oh my god, we can have like, Sam, even better than that, we can even have like, with so many different people be getting success over time, we can have Dynasty Warriors, Sam.
Isn't that wonderful? So right.
Yeah.
Who would be Lubu? I feel like that's the Shy.
So I don't know enough nearly about like the Three Kingdoms period to talk on that, sadly. What I do know is like, so who the only like real like historical figures I know are, who is that one guy that just aura farmed that one guy and like sat at...
Just I'm stopping you there. You understand that sentence is possibly the least descriptive thing about history I have ever heard.
This one Chinese general who had like such a rivalry with this other guy, and the other guy became so like respectful and kind of fearful of him, but he sat outside a fortress with a go board and a set of tea, and the other guy was like, call off the assault, we're not fighting. He only had 12 men in the fortress. Aura farming doesn't seem to cut it, as Shy might have to show off his legendary deeds. Can Lu Bu do it again?
This fort is looking a little empty, but he's going to TP out the Grand Escape. They can't get in range. Xiaohu ults to no avail. Curse you, Shy!
And like Weibo, they will not find their man, but they will find the turret using the Herald, and that'll charge in towards the top lane inner turret. Rookie might look for a sweep on mid lane, though, if Light overstays. Light, knowing that he's on the right side of the map, though, to stay safe, and won't leave himself open to it.
Yeah, he doesn't want to take the L, which is very appropriate considering his name.
Hongming is the guy that did that, by the way. The ultimate, the ultimate aura farmer.
That's exactly it. What item did he build? Abyssal Mask?
Why?
Debuff aura?
True. I mean, there are many auras. There's
Sunfire Cape?
Yeah, there's Sunfire Cape. There's Lock of the Iron Solari, you know.
There's the aura of Riz I just permanently have around me because I'm just an incredibly charming person.
Yeah, that's...
Stop, don't continue that into the insulting me. My heart can't take it.
In that case, so won't. Fine, okay. So Breeze took a good trade again. Well, or rather like, started like off the domino effect for the Shy here, who quickly understands he's in danger. Like, he knows he's in danger. His team's on bot side. They're taking Dragon. He quickly teleports out, and he's happy to at least not lose his life. The Shy, of course, had his tenuous relationship with the weak side of the map.
Yeah, he only believes in the dark side, the strength of it. There's no weakness in this man. He refuses to acknowledge its existence, and by pure virtue of will, can just determine that the weak side doesn't in fact exist. Atakan is being started, by the way, by Wave, but worth noting in GJ, as the observer shows us on the absolute opposite side of the map. This should be a fairly easy day, because at this point, I think, can just solo. He's got 2 items.
Yeah, they are walking up the river, but with the teammates walking over, IG won't be able to contest. They... pushing up in that mid lane, already took that mid lane out to turret, even enough in gold. IG not really in a position to fight this, though. Rookie could teleport up, choosing not to. Atakan freely over to web. It's not the biggest loss ever. It's not the biggest objective. It does help a little bit, but it's not the end of things.
No, it's not. Shit will eviscerate away, get some value in. Mako gonna find a really good angle for the hostile takeover. What a flank. What about the turnaround, though? They didn't actually manage to get as much follow-up as I think they were hoping for. Fate's Call now out. Are running into the issue of having absolutely no reasonable CC and have done nothing.
This crowd is not controlled. This is a free-flowing crowd. No one is getting CC'd. There's like a charm, a cyclone, and a whole lot of mobility to get out of it. Yep. You place yourself. Honestly, chat, this is a very good thought experiment. I think it teaches you a lot about team composition. You go down person by person on each side of the rift, and you ask yourself, if I was playing this champion, what would I feel threatened by? And I look at almost every member and I go, well, not that much in a team fight. You know, Gwen presses W, has the ultimate and need to go backwards. Maybe you get, shuffled in some scenarios, but you're fine. Wukong has the clone, Ahri has mobility, the bot lane can speed up or shift out too. On the other side for IG, much the same with their mobility. And Renata, who's typically left out lane, has the Kalista to keep them saves. So both of these teams are like, well, we're not going to kill champions, we better win this game somehow else, which means that Wave are getting the Atakan, which we said it's a small objective, but it means a lot more when you view it in the context of, well, you're not exactly winning clean fights.
No, you're not. A bit problematic here, I think it's fair to say. Breathe, gonna chomp his way through that wave, and the gold lead is 2,000 away, and we're looking at this going, well, they've got a couple dragons, they've got the Atakan.
Xiaohu might go toward the charm.
Into the charm. Gala gonna flash. Wonderful angle on the Ahri. Gets so much value out in the Orbit Deception after A+ stuff.
Awesome from Xiaohu. Gets a very quick 2-item spike. The Horizon Focus being an incredible stat stick for this moment in time. And Gala and Mako, despite the fact that there is very little that can catch them out, still managed to by over-pushing in the mid lane. Great punish by Xiaohu. And yeah, if we have our own, 3 kingdoms of winter, spring, and summer, the Spring King, it is Xiaohu, and he does make a great play to break open the play.
Rookie's going to try and get a shove on the other side. He's got the Nashes and the Rhyalize, but forced to flash there as I was caught mid-sentence. Unfortunate stuff We get a lot of value there. There's multiple summoners now down.
Dude, if we follow on that logic, by the way, Scout obviously went out with JDG.
Yeah.
He always wins 3 best of 5s in summer. Always.
Yeah.
Somehow at the back end of it. He would be, I guess, our summer emperor as well. Xiaohu finds a great angle, but why did he do this far? Like, JJ's nowhere close. You don't have vision either side of mid lane. You don't have mid lane turret to protect you. No one's teleporting in. That is a very egregious overstep from what should be a rock-solid bot lane, which is very hard to get a hold of. And Gala on the champion, which has not been his favorite, not been his specialty, down almost, what, the 1,500 gold.
On for a Banshee's Veil second or heading towards got the Verdant Barrier. This basically means that who stops is Ahri going for plays like that again? She is so hard to lock down at this point. She just get to melee range of everyone.
No, and when we were saying, hey, not that much engage in this comp, I think Xiaohu has made a good call here to say, look, I can be the engage, give me some defenses on slot 3, and we can get some value. Stuff like this. You can potentially buy the Callista ultimate, half HP already. There it is, it's gone. Xiaohu, the architect of that again.
Now he ult's looking to get around the back end of this, threatening Mako, who's so damn low. The Aurora ult is good, though, from the Shy. But the hostile taker trying to come on through, they're getting some damage back. The bailout comes through, means absolutely nothing. Gala is having a festival at his own expense as Xiaohu resets again and again and again. The Shy really wishes he was a bit more nervous. Does at least take one down on the way out. Doesn't have enough cooldowns, gets hit by the Q. And Light will arcane shift forwards to get a bit more value. JJ at least survives with the call of the pack, but everybody else is in a mass grave.
Wonderful last few minutes of play from Xiaohu. Back in 2022, I thought he was one of the 2 best Ahri players in the world alongside Faker. And a lot of it was because at that time, she was an initiation bot. You traded your HP, you put your body on the line, and you looked to get those plays started. It's exactly the same he's doing now here on the Ahri, looking for that first charm in the team fight. You're the one that's going forwards first. And IG, they've been caught out in the mid lane, and now in the Dragon, just around that. You know, Tian jumps forward, manages to get the ultimate out of Rookie, but while this is happening, Xiaohu, great pick onto Mako, means that he can't be the one bit of initiation that IG have. Attacking the Renata has always been a valid playstyle, jumps out as Mako comes out of the play as well, even gets an awesome, if you watch just here, gets a second charm into the CC combo as well. More resets, Gala not able to stay safe.
Great work there as the Rookie goes down, the 3-shot barrage comes across, Light then just gets to keep running it, and the Shy at the very least does get one on the way out. Then Light flash for the Essence Bug hits the Q. That resets the Arcane Shift. Straight old skill, as you would say. Xiaohu looking for more. Still got 2 charges on the ult. There's the Redemption coming on down, but happy enough to have earned a few more cooldowns. And at this point in the game as well, with all this ability haste, I really don't think Xiaohu's ult's going to be on that longer cooldown.
Nope. At this point in the game, I think it's something like, it'll be like a 60-second cooldown, something like that. It's 100 seconds at rank 2. You've got a bunch. You've got like 80 ability haste on your ultimate now, something like that. So it's almost half. So okay, it would be lower than that. It's closer to like 50 seconds at this point. You have almost 100 haste, and Xiaohu will be about to hit level 16 at that point. The ultimate is basically 30-second cooldown, which it hits now. And worth noting, folks, Ahri's ult cooldown starts from your first cast of it, not the last cast of it. So Xiaohu's ultimate can, in some situations, be cast on cooldown now from IG. You get a 15-second window of time to use it when you first cast it, and then when you get a kill, it resets that up to a maximum of 10 seconds extra duration. So if you get a kill, get one near the end of the timer, you basically get like a 5-second cooldown, all things said and done.
Rookie about to get run at here, will slide away, hit by the needles though, and actually gonna get hit again. There's no quite ghost yet for Rookie, but he's run out of cooldown. He's just going to die here, surely. Does manage to get away with 5% HP, but Tien's coming on down. He's far too fast in the river with all of that water walking available to him. Jesus wishes. And Tien gonna think about starting your forwards. All right, Rookie tries to get something at the back end of this, knowing he's not getting out.
Yep, not giving it over to Tien. Just saying, okay, one of you can get the kill. I ain't giving assist gold over. Baron on the other side of the map, not started by IG, not in position to do so. They're so far behind now. They're against the Soul Point. They do have a Callista, which typically would be very good at stacking Baron. However, in this case, you're on red side, which makes it harder to play around the Baron because you're stuck with the wall at your back against a longer range composition with the Ahri and the Ezreal, and Tien finds out the Shy.
The Shy gonna get Nimbus struck afterwards, trying to run away. Is doing a fairly decent job, but there comes the Smite slow at the end of it all, just to ensure that Wukong will not be denied. One of the stickiest champions in the game. Can't run away from him that easy.
Tien, awesome game from him. Awesome game from Tien. The early game was largely him invading the enemy jungle and stopping JJ from having a good time with things. And he's had clean team fights and it's unkilled on the Wukong and making a mess of this composition from IG. Would have liked to be buying a bit of time. JJ will jump onto Airhead, pulls the ultimate.
keep hunting for something. They're going to have to jump over the wall, but then Light's just going to say, all right, let's go. He's got, at least the dog goes in the way, throw some Dark and Daggers at Light, but he's pretty safe to keep going on forwards at this point with 3 items and a Calista Karma behind him. Is correct. That's the one.
Light farming over the wall in the way that on the Ezreal really can. We'll jump over now, presumably. Zitter, I don't think that makes you as safe as you think it does.
Farm goes wide. I mean, I've got a slightly awkward position, forced to flash his error as the handshake came out. But again, a real hard CC means that's what you're kind of obligated into.
I was actually quite surprised that Xiaohu didn't look for the ult there. You know, he had the Banshees up, he's level 16 with ultimate, it's not a long cooldown. Dragon now up at a minute 30, IG not wanting to give the Ocean Soul over, of course. See whether they had any choice about it. They have to pray for a massive overstep from Weibo, and they can get their own reset onto someone. Rookie jumping forwards in the mid lane. Air caught out. This is not bad, actually. No one really in position to follow up. That's a good pick from IG just before the Dragon spawn.
Dallas flashing on forwards, looking for an angle. Just get jumped on as Giannis has to try and turn around. It's a really big true shot barrage. The hostile takeover is solid. Xiaohu gets hit by it. Needs to run away, but gets one on the way out. Got another ult charge to work with. IG actually pretty low at the back end of this all the while in the base. They're losing inhibitors.
IG gets some really good picks there, killing Wukong for the first time in the game, getting Air down as well. Brief does get the inhib, but you know, IG, they get a little more out of that than I thought.
Gonna get that reset off, and now Light's kind of trapped here. All of the pods, sorry, Hunt pursuit.
Wow, that's a lot of damage. Whoa!
Light just doesn't care, and he murders him.
Insane from Light. Manages to hop over the dogs to get a clean Q shot. Often Ezreal not good into Neferi because the dogs block it. Light, awesome combo. The press the attack burst, insane there, and kills Jejet now before the Dragon. IG had a brief window where they can make a play, lose their jungler, which means they lose the soul after, presumably.
I didn't blame JJ for looking at it. They saw the resets come on through. It's like, if we can pick off the Ezreal, we can look for something more here. And instead, the Ezreal just goes, yeah, no.
I mean, Light, what can you say? A clean combo. That's a Dragdar combo, if anything. Go clip that. Right, so, let's see what he ends up landing. So the W's used very early. Gets the extra damage through from Jeja. 1 Q hits. W hits on afterwards, and he hops over to get the extra Q after. I think it was a Q flash, actually, to get across the other side of the dogs. Clean from Light. Wasn't even close there. Jeja got exploded.
There goes the Dragon. Secure by Breathe. That's Ocean Soul now for Weibo, you know, to make these nice and easy when you've got the likes of Gwen, Ari, and Ezreal, who are quite good at proccing and keeping alive with it. Here's here. Don't you run away here, just pull the pack, and there come the doggos back again. And the Baron now the next thing on the docket, I suspect, for Weibo Gaming.
Yeah, Breathe doesn't have teleport, might still stick in bot side and say, look, I'm just going to push for an inhib. IG, you still have to respect Baron. And Weibo will basically sit in this kind of limbo saying, right, we don't have teleport for a little bit. Breathe can just sit on the bot side of the map. If IG want to do something top side, they'll lose inhibitor. And of course, they don't have that much engaged to threaten in the 4-man unit, which makes it much easier for Weibo to do that. Play through the whole bot side jungle. Of course, Gwen, one of the most annoying champions, are doing that with a ton of random sustain and bits and pieces, giving you loads of damage. Taking, you know, basically a couple of hundred gold to make a charm again there. Good damage. Any damage onto Jejet makes a lot of difference there, because he's a key part of IG's next ability to take fights.
Very much so. Xiaohu just hanging around the back end of this, looking to see whether he can start this, because IG are going to rush the Baron. TP's now coming on in. Here comes the rest of the gaming. Mako needs to be a little bit afraid. Rookie goes golden. Gala at 2/3, make that 1/3 HP as Xiaohu needs to back out over the wall. He's got 1 ult charge remaining, looking for the charm angle, misses it. Baron be allowed to reset. IG can't get the value they're hoping for. Super Minions now in the base.
Yeah, they are. At least it's on top side, which makes it a little easier to clear that out than walk towards Baron. But Weibo say, well, you'd have to send someone back towards the base. You don't have that luxury now. And we were saying, look, Xiaohu has basically no ult cooldown. It'll be up again in about 15 seconds. Ult pull through from the Aurora.
Got that one. That's the reset for this Neferi. Nexus turret 1 is about to fall. Has done so. They need to reset. They need to get out of here. And they're not. They're still stuck around. Rookie has gone back. Has got the TP to rejoin the fight should he need to.
Xiaohu missed the charm flash there, but has the ultimate up in a few seconds. All it will really take now is 1 bit of CC landing. Teleport back in towards the Baron after 1 wave has been cleared. IG realize we have to go now with this slim advantage. The Shy gets a good chunk.
Does indeed. Tien chunked out low. Not necessarily be going out as yet. There goes the Baron being started and run down. Too much to deal with there. Try and jump a little bit further forward. The needles come on out. Breeze getting some damage. Does get shuffled back, but not putting a lot of damage. Good steal in secure by Xie to ensure that the Baron goes their way. Gala will try to bounce the way around and will fail to do so. The Baron was secured at the cost of 2.
Cost of 2, which means they will probably lose another inhib anyway. I don't think you can defend, and as we were talking about before, the Ari ultimate kind of just decorative at this point. It's basically always available. Weibo will take the 2 kills and see if they can break the base before IG can defend it with the Baron buff.
Basically got no wave clear as well. It's Aurora or bust at this point. Ballista, the Deer being down for the count makes this very tricky indeed. Mako about to be jumped out here by Tien potentially. Inhibitor number 2 does fall.
There's no Callisto ult for the Aurora, for the Renata either. Teleporting in. There's only one Nexus turret. They're just going to end.
Shy tries to throw to between worlds, gets some damage down. The hostile takeover is solid, but Light just isn't taking any meaningful damage. They don't have the engage, they don't have the CC, and they sure as hell don't have the damage. Nexus now under siege, and Weibo Gaming may lose the Baron, but they'll take the Nexus in trade.
IG fell behind due to the antics of Tien and Xiao, who managed... Okay, do I mind this? You have no damage outside of Lucian if you lock this in.
Okay. Tien needs to pop off in the Pantheon then.
The worry is, if you locked in a Victor, you get pinged by a Leona ult, your fight is over. Galio can survive the initial engage. What do you do after the initial engage is down? That's my worry. It's another difficult to play composition from Weibo because the only damage source you have really is the Lucian. And if you get Room Prison, Solar Flare, Bullet Time, which can't get blocked because you don't have a Braum Shield, an Equalizer, and Lucian goes down very quickly, you don't have the damage to turn that around now.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, obviously things like Cassante going all out, Pantheon after a couple, once if he gets fed, Galio to an extent, they do have some damage to them. It's not like they have...
Anything interesting happening at level 1? I'm asking that question, chat. Can you answer me? Is there anything interesting happening at level 1? Well, I think it's no. Well, maybe there is. Well, chat, you could have told me this, couldn't you? Yeah, they walk into the brush. Gonna get some vision down. You could have told me this. You could have let me know. Ugh, I was counting on you for this. Some wards down as the bot side jungle, spotting out JJ's early pathing. Now, there is, every so often, a caster says something and it sticks in the community. Stuff like red side, R1, B1, R5, you know, obviously LS has a lot of these. Sometimes, or in the case of Atlas, you know, the Shelly and Shirley, and a couple of the things like that. Now, the thing which I tried to make happen was, one, Weibo consistently inconsistent. That one has stuck, thank you very much. And the other one was full build Poppy, where you hit level 3, you get a red buff, and you're ready to just win the game. So JJ is about to hit full build on Poppy with the red buff. Be afraid. Be very, very afraid. Rookie walks over the Windsor Ball. Nice from that. Of course, the mind game against the Galio is he going to cast the Q short or long? And you try and step in the opposite direction, of course. JJ through his second camp now. Will get himself... closer to that full build. However, he is on vision. This is why the vision is really important, right? You see that vision in Pixel Brush from Weibo, and of course on the Raptors as well. They really want to check where JJ's leaving his jungle, right? Because if he leaves through bot side, then bot lane gets a bit of extra, what's it call it? Extra warning. Tien knowing that he's not going out into his right side of the map means that he's safe to go on bot side. Even Pantheon doesn't want to play against the Poppy very early on, despite Pantheon's early dealing prowess. Oh, flash in. Burns the cleanse from Gala. So flash for flash cleanse. Gala gets out with a fairly good amount of HP. Shy, great trade onto Breathe on the top side. Cassante does not fare well against the Rumble that early. The thing what you do is Cassante, and you see this here actually, is you make a decision as the Cassante in most lanes. Do you start Q, get wave push but lose HP, or do you start E and tank up the first hits but don't get any damage onto the wave because you don't have any damage onto minions that way? I think you started Q here, lost some HP, choosing to teleport back in with first back of the game. Only getting a little bit of gold, gets the boots first. That's a little bit of top lane information for you. JJ, as we were saying, hitting the full build Poppy, and I'm happy for it.
Is indeed. What can you do at level 3 on Poppy? Everything.
Everything.
That is
absolutely everything. The full build Poppy. So, like, look, the biggest casters in the world who have the most eyes and ears on them do get to... Hang on a second. This is the full build Poppy!
There's the dive on into the Rune Prison as well. Xiaohu's in so much trouble, and he is dead to rights. Nice play in mid lane.
It did full build, but it as prophesized! Poppy Al Gaib sees the golden path into mid lane.
He controls the honey fruit, controls the river.
Yeah, all sidewalks lead to him. He gets around the corners of mid lane and goes through. Yeah, when you are one of the bigger casters in the world and people actually listen to you, which I'm afraid doesn't happen to me that often. You know, your Atlases, your Captain Flowers, the big names of the world. You say something funny enough or on point enough if people remember it. I'd like everyone to know that we tried our best here with full build Poppy, and I think it's a pretty good thing to bring out.
My go. Yala will auto a few times. Now in a spot of bother. Ends up taking some press the attack damage. Debating interrupting some more here and does so. There's another auto. Gala, on his usual pool party misfortune, flash away from the Shire's Breathe, threatened with the Pathmaker, so the Shire will have to flash there trying to get that wave crashed in.
Okay. I feel like I say that a lot now when I need to start talking about something else. I say okay to buy myself some time.
I go to say.
We go so, and you'll notice we've done that a lot more since we've been casting 150 hours every goddamn month, because it turns out, folks, sometimes you need to not think about what you're saying that much and go to the tried and tested, because there's a lot of games. Now, I wonder what it's like for the players here, actually, because to draw a parallel, you know, you play so many games back-to-back in the LPL playoffs, and if you do win this series, you're only playing it again in a couple of days, right, to play against the winner of WE Top Esports. You have to be playing day in, day out, going through the routines, and if you have routines which are exploitable, teams will prepare for that. You need to be very, very on point. Stuff like your warding patterns, the ways that you position in lane. In fact, I remember a while ago I saw an EU Masters team realizing that if a mid laner on red side would always stand in this one part of the just over the wall in mid lane, back when there was a wall back in mid lane at that point. So if you picked a composition with like Blitzcrank or Rakan, you could always get their flash level 1. Stuff like that. If you make an obvious mistake, people will start exploiting that when they have time to sit down and really review your individual habits, things which you had no idea were an issue. Can really come out to bite you. Taylor's gonna start Dragon. I think it was it Boris? Yeah. Who was the tennis player? Boris, what's his name?
Oh.
Yeah, one of the huge tennis players of the 80s. Dragon has been started up. We're actually going to contest over. Well, do you have a level 6 Poppy now? Actually, JJ ahead in fight. Oh yeah, the Poppy level 6. This means that they can, even if they don't want to fight, can pull that ultimate. See if they can force the smite out and get the contest for free.
To do it, and over comes some damage.
Oh, great wall stun.
Massive damage from that wall stun. Galio does come in and try to keep people alive. TM fails to flash out, but Galio will get traded. Turnaround damage beginning to come on through. The 1-for-1 as it stands. Importantly, Gala is the one that died versus TN though, so there's no smite available right now, making this a bit of an interesting one. Should be able to secure this with that smite, and does so. The Winds of War will nicely timed, but it won't turn into anything.
Really good play from JJ. Last game was diffed by TN pretty hard, but this time gets a kill gets an assist in mid lane, and then gets the assist onto the jungler as well after getting level 6 early for that fight. Didn't even need to use, you know, a big ejection ultimate from the Poppy to seal things in their favor. IG getting off to an early start, and that's a problem for Weibo, because if this combo gets ahead, they'll have more damage to dunk down on poor Lucian's head, who's the one person who can really carry DPS later into a fight. And that's the real Achilles heel of this composition. So Dragon up, gold up. Weibo do have some gold on the Lucian, but he needs to be kept safe, and that's going to be a hard thing to ask for later into the game.
So, Make It Rain comes on down. Too much to be sensitive. So I said. There it is. And I say grubs spawning, and they are indeed. I thought it was Herald for a second. Oh my god, it's so way later in the game than it is.
Sometimes I could expose so many of our crutch phrases, and
yeah,
you'd never be able to listen to us in the same way again. No, with regards to that is a big one for many casters. I got rid of that one eventually. It's like, no, Rookie, you know, he's ahead in the individual match who gets the kills, but, you know, the Galio will be okay in team fights with regards to that. Yeah, and in that top side, starting up the Wars of the Court, starting with Rubs. Weibo, they're calling else anyone over to this Shao, who does have teleport, doesn't have ultimate. Of course, use that in that ill-fated fight in bot side, pushing out mid lane. First grub taken by TN, not bold enough to stay around for the second and third.
Not this time around, so they'll back away as IG decide these set of grubs will be theirs, with the exception of that one that was nabbed by Weibo. Not that much else to talk about. Not really. We'll note the light has gone towards the colour if we've not mentioned that already.
I hadn't, no.
And both AD carries.
Sam, you've deprived me of getting annoyed at something. You could have said something I said before, and I could have, been unreasonably annoyed for.
Yeah, it's not like you don't. Not like you ever do that in return, ever.
Yeah, he does have the cull in case we haven't mentioned that.
Such a menace. Era just ended up taking a bit of a trade damage there. Have we mentioned the culls yet?
Yeah, if only there were a scythe-like item which gave you extra gold value as the game went on from farming value. With that in mind, which is another Crush Rise first, by the way, with that in mind, Gala has that cull as well, actually. The Shy pushing at the top lane, getting ahead of Breathe. Breathe is going to have a huge fight or skirmish at some point to make the most of this pick, because the Sante is very hard to make work unless it gets a lot of random gold in fights. Breathe is walking forward, let's see if he can hit that Q3. Not able to do so. And the Shy, very happy in this matchup and will take the gold which he's got and completely slam it over the head of Weibo later into these team fights.
Damage. Really there to be found at this point. I'll be interested to see what Xiaohu builds on this Galio as well. So he's gone for the early Dark Seal. Is it going to be a damaged Galio? Grand Starfall coming top side though. Good timing from Breed. Drags him straight to the Grand Starfall path. Flashes away. Trying to run on out as best he can with the Nimbus Cloak Speed and will survive this play.
Yeah, the Shy loses his ultimate and his flash, but getting the ultimate out of Tien, taking a lot of HP off of them too. It's not like they can really redive with that now, question mark. No, they can't. Cross map now coming through. JJ has Hex Flash. Xiaohu gonna get ulted and will flash away.
Does just that. Was Breathe traded his flash and ult top side as well, so it ends up being quite even everywhere you look. Is that, I suppose Xiaohu losing that flash additionally bot side kind of sucks for him. No real way around that one, I'm not going to lie to you.
Minutes till Dragon, have you talked about that? Have I?
No,
cool. Right, okay, that one's a safe topic, cool. You can tell our active listening definitely goes through the drain when we get up early and we have to cast many games of League of Legends. Minutes told that. Of course, no flash on Xiaohu now is going to be impactful for that. The Shy also not going to have flash. Does he teleport up towards top side and just match Breathe because neither of them have teleport? Erha going forwards, catching out Gala.
Fair damage down. Does to stand and deliver though as Era does finally get the Magnet Storm down. Gala about to find himself in danger. Does get turned around on though as Rise finally begins to unleash. Bullet time. Wonderful angle into the Keeper's verdict. Keeps them locked up there in the waves of firepower. Xiaohu now needs to back away, but where does he run except into a wall courtesy of a little shove from Xie.
It's the blue side aura. IG. Playing so different to that first game, cleanly finding engages. I really think Rookie, who's pulling the Realm Warp, has been such an impact in this early game. Has Cleanse and Flash. Lights, very nearly going down. Rookie flashing forward, can't quite confirm the kill.
Look in there, it was a little bit far, but hey, Rookie's feeling it. 3-0 and 2. Yep. Looking a lot more confident than the Azir last game where it felt pretty hard to play.
I think a lot of people think of Rise as a scaling pick, and he is. I think early game Rise is incredibly potent, though. Speaking of that, he's probably recalling. Zenith Blade will just stop her from, well, it will stop the recalls though, will air her, so he's still happy with that. Dragon Startup wasn't, of course, taken in that last play. But yeah, the early game of Rise, now particularly on this patch, where the combo went from 40% bonus damage to 60%. Very, very powerful. Going to find a little bit of that because he doesn't have flash. He's been stopping recalls, and instead finding a quick way home himself.
That was great from Era. And again, this is a player we had a lot of love for a couple series back, but he has been known to be a little bit flippy looking for the big plays and oversteps his bounds there pretty heavily. He's rightly punished. Yeah. Dragon goes the way of Weibo.
Yeah, against anyone's legend, Erha was hard diff. However, the only reason we got to face them is because he hard carried game 4 and 5 versus JDG in the series before that. It's the play in the mid lane again where, yes, Erha goes forwards, but the follow-up is just not there. Tien's not in place, the Galio ultimate's apparently not in range. Maybe that was being called out a little incorrectly. And then Weibo, after losing that support, have precious little CC left to stop the bullet time, which does a hell of a lot of work from Gala, who's also having a much better time for himself on the Misfortune compared to the Callisto of last game. Playing picture-in-picture. Breathe trying to look for a 1v1, does get some decent damage, but misses a Q, and the Shy will pick up a kill onto Breathe.
It's work there. He just gets to stand and deliver with a little bit of assistance from his Rise and Poppy, and in fairness, I'm looking at this now, and this Rise is so damn scary. Start split pushing away. He's got a couple grubs to his name as well. Rise, not necessarily the best turret taker per se, but he's quite a good side laner because of his mobility and survivability. He's about to face check a Pantheon though, and that might be a little less fun. Begins to run away quite fast with the phase rush. I believe he gets speed off his passive as well. I forget exactly what Rise passive does in its entirety, but there we go. Xiaohu is caught in the red side. How are you here? Why are you here? He was by Krunks!
My dude, there is smoke and mirrors, and then there's blowing smoke up your... okay, whatever. Xiaohu dying in the enemy jungle, 0-3. As Weibo, the wheels have come off the train at this point, and other such analogies too. That Grand Star coming in mid lane, but again, it's a snatch and grab play. Mako has flash. It's a bullet time, getting good damage down. Yes, the E comes through from the Pantheon, but Gala and Mako winning out largely in the 2v3.
Huge value there as they just find themselves a lot of gold ahead generally. Yeah, 4k up this early on. It's brutal.
I'm sorry, guys. We're warping towards top side. That'll just be to collect the wave. No extra kind of fight coming through. Rookie does get the passive on. Might be able to get the W afterwards. Using the geometry to get a little bit of a gap closed there as Breathe went to the outside lane and Rookie took the inside track. Yeah, folks, after a certain while, it is not blue side diff. It is just aura diff. When you're on blue side, you're there's something about the, I don't know, maybe you get lag on red side from, or maybe it's just a brain diff. I'm not sure, but red side just seems to just massively nerf teams. I have no idea why. IG playing very cleanly on this side. I think, you know, Rookie on the rise in early game, particularly with the combo buff, as we were talking about before, has been an utter force of nature. He's been ever present, and Weibo, they needed to protect this Lucian. They needed to play very much nuclear, and not nuclear family. That's different. Anyway, okay. Yeah. Lucian is the baby.
Who's mom and dad?
Well, Rel was meant to be like 16, so that feels bad for her.
She's 34 now,
which is not right, by the way. It's like the fact that they just retconned that is such a huge difference. Anyway, Breed missing that Q3. There is a Pantheon on top, though, but Poppy's here to stop him.
Yeah, now looking topside to potentially shield vault onto Rookie. Deus shield vault, but here comes the keeper's verdict to the rule knocked away.
Wait, Xiaohu's in trouble now.
Oh, Xiaohu, no! The verdict is death.
He thought he'd have teammates, folks. He thought he'd have teammates. And JJ hits the eject button. Like one of those really weird Pokemon comps with Dynamax. Whatever, that was the whole few metas away. JJ has been utterly unleashed in the pop. He can even go behind top lane if he wants to do an extra kind of threat onto Breathe here. Breathe, I'm not sure you want this fight.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. Alt where my teammates left once again.
Breathe, you are not safe to be here. Mako's here now.
He's all out. Go on. Take those trading weights off. Here comes Era. Let's go, value. They shut down Rookie. That's actually fairly significant. Mako now in danger as the Culling comes on through. Trying to get the kill. Can't quite get it as the minions are in the way.
Okay, that time Breathe could go for it. My mistake. I wasn't watching the minimap. The cardinal sin of everything does have flash. Might be able to go to Mako. Mako doesn't flash early. Flashes late instead and dies. 2 quick kills for Weibo.
Massive value there, as they will manage to nab away a turret as well. That's the bounty. The problem is Gala's in the mid lane with a Herald working, so should be able to drive forward towards the second turret. Does so. That means tier 2 likely going to fall here, though I think Xiaohu probably does have just enough wave clear to deny that. 30 seconds on Dragon. Tien ulting in, looking for an angle, can't quite do it. And the attempted punish on the shove through mid doesn't happen.
So Weibo do manage to get some gold, top lane turret, couple of kills. Better than it was for them. However, they're still almost 2,000 gold behind onto this rise, even after the shutdown. The initial play, I mean, wonderful stuff from JJ, but also you literally see the Poppy charging up her ults. You never pass ult there as Gallia. You just let it happen. Wait for the Poppy ult to time out or miss or whatever. A mistake there in the second-to-second decision-making of Xiaohu. I mean, I guess the call was let's just pull everything topside, but you have to sit back and be aware of the reality of the situation. Dragon now going into IG. That would be their second. And Weibo, not sure they'll look into another play like that again in terms of the cleanup after that play.
Where do we find ourselves? There is still a gold lead to Invictus Gaming, and it is a good one. However, nice counter punches there from Weibo in terms of at least getting some bounty gold, at least getting some gold in terms of some shutdowns going on to some members. Does feel pretty nice. They are still going to run to the fact that this rise is 2k ahead. Rookie is giga terrifying right now, and it ain't getting any easier. Again, about to get jumped on. Does have Breathe around. Just gets away the big bug. Shield bolt forwards. Lights now around, and I think they might have gone a little too deep here. Mako does manage to get some value there with the Zenith Blade. The Keeper's Verdict knocks one away, namely the Pantheon, which is actually a fair amount of damage. Turn around from area. In comes the Hero's Entrance. Mako now in danger. Going to get caught in the Equalizer, though, and the bullet time is brutalizing. 2 additional members down. Xiaohu getting burned alive as Light trying to try it up best he can. Rookie flashing on out. Gets shoved into the wall. Does Breathe as GHA gets one. A triple kill to Gala's misfortune. GHA still hunting as he puts down a hammer shot and backs away. Man, this Misfortune just untouched. Got to auto. And the love taps are a bit too much for anyone else to handle. So, IG find themselves a lot of value in the red side. Jungle can now look to go top side, and the Shy can pick up this turret top. Feel pretty good about themselves. Final outer turret goes down.
I'm gonna pretend I saw all of that, and I wasn't making a coffee. So what I have to do now is speak over the replay like I know exactly what happened. So the big thing you have to keep your eyes on here is I'm gonna guess bullet time from this part of the fight because he's really far back. Did I guess right? Well, they don't have any cancels left. They're in a choke point. Steps back, and Equalizer bullet time. Yeah, I was right. Yeah. Turns out it's quite easy to guess that when a composition is entirely about bullet time equalizer, but good to see it play out in that fight. They walk into a choke point. They don't have any cancels. Really well spaced by Gala. Just not able to get on top of that bullet time cancel. Like triple kill. Yeah, I was right. You see, that's why they pay me the exposure bucks. They pay me the exposure bucks because I can tell what happens even when I didn't see the play at first. Nice.
Well then. Where do we find ourselves at this moment? Still kind of waiting on the next dragon. We're in this bit of a lull state before Baron spawns. Atakan is available, but we've all seen people go around that. Though that said, IG are kind of on it and getting it for free. It's a nice win more objective. We'll get them a fair number of extra petals. We're actually pretty even in that point. It's been a relatively bloody game, so change things around. They got 31 of them. Charging the wall there, just TN. He's actually now in a lot of danger as he's caught on the equalizer as well. That's really important. Tried to zone people off and ends up getting blown up himself. The solo player out was fantastic as Rookie spell fluxes and gets the phase rush. Dancing on through. Shao gets a brief taunt, but all the while on the other side, the Shy does die out to breathe. Not bad in a 1v3 from the Cassante to at least get something back, but will die nonetheless.
Still a 3-for-1, and Light is alive, I suppose, but with bullet time still available, it's not really like he can jump forwards and do that much, especially when he's still 2,000 gold down as well. IG have been much better in the team fights this game. They've been able to keep Gala safe. Rookie has been running rampant, and now he's got, the full stacked Seraph's Embrace and close towards the full stack Rod of Ages as well against a 0-5 Galio.
That is pretty insane.
From Xiaohu, who just came off of a great Ori game as well. Like, these two teams are just so ridiculously coin flippy. IG, Weibo. Weibo, consistently inconsistent. This team, you can never tell game to game what version you're going to take. It's not even series to series or week to week. It is literally game to game with this team. But IG are much better. Both of these teams are the factory makers of aneurysms. If you are a fan of these teams, I am so sorry. I am so sorry if you're a fan of these teams, because they are not okay for your health. Now, as a neutral viewer, Weibo, IG, some of my very favorite teams to watch in the world, because I, as a viewer, never know what I get to expect, and that is the beauty of sport and of competition, having that random chance. They take it a bit too far, these two, and I'm glad I'm not as emotionally invested in them as some.
There is only pain that way. I saw the results of KT DK earlier, and some wildness occurred as well. We just get lots of that in certain teams in League of Legends.
The funny thing for me is, like, hang on a second, Maker's gonna get caught out here. Does have flash and ults.
Pretty tanky right now, but the Eclipse finally runs out. Solo plays down on the bullet time, again in a good angle, but TN managed to take up a lot of it.
Oh, the equalizer!
The equalizer afterwards is absolute phenomenon. TN is roasted Pantheon. Xiaohu comes on in, but there's no one there to save the hero's entrance. Is a decade late. Breeze flashed over the wall, but Todas the Shy looking for the flames, but it gets into the base gate. It's actually a fair amount of damage. The Shy's got way too deep, and they get that kill, but the health was so low. Last auto and the double up point of Shusho is flashed on in. He wants to keep going. This Poppy has long passed full build and will not need to use any more of their power.
So it's somehow only a 1-for-1, but given that they started out with like a brief 1v5 by Mako on the front line, Mako makes it out without using flash, setting up for another bullet time, which was wonderfully layered with the equalizer as well. That will open up third dragon for IG. There will be a teleport in from Xiaohu, but he's still 1-5, no ultimate. He can't help that much. And look, he had to walk up to look for something. Instead, he just finds his death. It's another kill, which will make the dragon even easier to take yet again. Third dragon cleanly taken here by IG.
Dragon taken by IG. Sole point, and at this point, the game is realistically over. The 7k, we've already had the issues about the damage. this Rise is ungodly fared, so is Gala's Misfortune. Like, there is very little at this point you can do as Weibo Gaming. The only person who's closest is Breed, who's ironically only 200 gold behind the Shy.
But then the problem is, Rumble just compositionally just does way more than the Cassante. It's that kind of like force multiplier, right? You get the ability to kind of force projection. You can always use your gold lead. While bullet time back on Tien, very nearly killed off by Gala. Flies onto mid lane as well as Light is forced down to half HP. We'll get some honey fruit to feel a little bit more safe. But IG starting the full court press. Don't have access to Baron yet, but don't really need it, honestly.
Decent shove on forwards there. Turret. About half HP. Knocked into the wall is Mako. Solar Flare comes on down. Damage back is solid. Quite enough.
Breathe, yeah, the one person with the gold lead, much harder to use it. Much harder to use. You can see in plays like that. So as a Realm Warp onto mid lane, Equalizer to slow him down. Chose the right place to decide. Oh my god, he's exploded.
Oh, don't blame him looking. Here comes the hero's entrance. Gala just flashes away every time they try for Gala. He's got his flash up. They can't consistently keep earning his light. Gets hit and goes down. The Thornbound Atacon begins to pop. And a last member goes down. Another kill over to Gala, who's picked up nearly everybody this last couple fights, it feels like.
Weibo schooled IG in the first game. Jet and Gala diffed, really, by Tien. And Light, of course, Xiaohu in the mid lane as well. Fantastic Ari game in game 1. Game 2, flip it the other way around. You know, I think Jet has been magnificent on the Poppy. I think Rookie, 8, 1, and 10 on the Rise. You can see why this pick is so powerful on 25-11 with the combo buffs and everything else. Kind of tangentially working to make him a very strong champion, with the AP item changes still kind of working fairly well in his favor. I wish I could tell you what was going to happen for the rest of the series.
Yeah.
I wish I could tell you confidently that, oh, we've seen this and we've learned this about the teams. I just can't confidently say that about either of these teams. You can see how different it is from game 1 to 2. Erha exploded in this fight. Weibo not able to cleanly find fights the way that they did in the first game with the Wukong and the Ari, just not firing on any cylinders now.
Yeah, this car is stalled. Again, I refer again to the color theorem. This is a blue game, Alex. And therefore, we know that blue side will always win. Tien getting jumped on here. Solar Flare comes on down. The Zenith Blade afterwards and gets some damage down to the Aegis. Salt means very little indeed. Era on a deep flank here. Where is the damage? Can they look for this? Era's going to go looking, trying to jump onto Gala. Remember, has no flash, gets stuck in here, but doesn't really take all that much meaningful damage. They don't have any way to actually threaten Gala through all the front line. Down goes Era again. Golden goes the Shy, stays alive. Light flashes to no avail. He is snuffed out.
Rookie untouched in the fight, machine gunning as Gala brings the extra artillery as well. All guns firing. IG, another clean combo. Weibo have not been able to cancel, I don't think, a single bullet time in this game. I've not seen a single cancelled bullet time. Mid lane, 10-1-11. 80 carry, 9-1 and 10. Well, why not throw in the jungle as well? 2-0-19. Good overall team performance from IG. They'll take the Baron easily. And Weibo, they, for a long time now, should probably have been thinking about game 3 instead.
Not much more to be done in this game. With the Baron on, Soul in a minute and a half. And a lot of waves to shove. Does feel like Weibo will be very happy here, rubbing their hands and smiling at what's going to happen next game. They need some vengeance. Hope they're smiling at the very least, because I think this game has been a bit of a bemusing one. Just look at Rookie's scoreline alone, 10-1 and 11. How much better is this than the last game? IG, so bloody mercurial, very hard to read, but it's the Raph felt a lot more playable, and they get the snowball rolling.
Really like the build here from JJ, so I know it's not that important now. Like, when you're this far ahead in the game, what else are we going to talk about?
Yeah.
I really like going for the Sundered Sky Deadmans, because it gives you a lot of HP and tanky stats, but it also means that your first auto attack on someone slaps them very hard with the Deadmans and the extra crit as well from the Sundered Sky. Turret's going to fall down, IG. This is the victory lap. They'll be pushing in. Weibo, they will just have to choose where they die and exactly how. Don't really have a choice about that. Besides it, good stop on the dash back, and it's been an end to a torrid game for Xiao, who just about makes it out and retains a 1-6 scoreline rather than 1-7.
0-7 on the rail as well. It's not been pretty. The Nexus turret under siege. Light eats a single double up and loses half his HP bar. My god, that misfortune is better. Caught on the equalizer, burns out the Shy, gets a double. As his ultimate feels a bit of a lie. There's nothing equal about that damage, that's for sure. It's been IG favoured from minute 1. and the snowball careens into Weibo's Nexus. IG will even up the series.
Early saving grace, no one got a Pensa. Felt like it was the kind of game where they could. They'll realm up onto the Nexus for the party trick, and the series is even. Possession. Rookie, think about Victor Oriana, I'd imagine. Oriana's the one that's locked in. Strong early laning phase. And of course, you then give the cow ball delivery system over towards Mako as well. So IG, they have engage, they have range, they have damage, they have split push. Neither team has a global, the Sion being the closest to it. I guess Sion does count as a global, but often he's in the lane with the Yorick, so that doesn't matter as much. Weibo on the other side, I think we've finally done it. We have human compositions finally, folks. They have laning phase, they have team fight, they have range, they have engage, they have damage. Now, it's a little strange that we do have the Zyra coming through. It is the sole AP, though, and given... Yeah, I guess the only way you really end up getting caught there is by not... Let's go. So, Rookie, picking for lane matchup there. And I hope we see any more even games. Stomps both ways so far. Let's hear the gyros.
IG's gyros are, as ever, pretty deafening. What an insanely engaged fan base they have over in the LPL.
So when we had 2 series days when the crowd would be, there for 2 different sets of teams, you could tell when IG were playing, because even when there was a popular team playing on the other series, all of the fans came for IG instead. Ticket sellout in moments. We were talking. There's a guy called Omar, who's occasionally in our Twitch chat, who lives out in Beijing.
Yeah.
So see if they actually get to go to any of the playoffs. But basically, from what they were saying, as soon as IG is playing, ticket sellout in seconds. They are just so popular. The Shy is the most popular player in the LPL by far, and then it's someone like Jackie Love. Jeja, actually quite important, popular player too, being one of the last Worlds winners from IG. Mako as well. Many of these players building up a fan base over time, and that's a really cool thing to see for actually both these teams. So you got Xiaohu on the other side. Of course, the Shy was over on that team too. The Shy playing against his former team, and Xiaohu playing against his former top laner too from their World's Finals appearance in 2023. Seeing so it's both teams with such engaged fan bases, as you were rightfully saying, Sam, is really cool, particularly in this year. Particularly when we have the LPL, who's not won an international tournament since MSI 2023, not won a World Championship since 2021, and that was EDG. We need our heroes now. We need them more than ever. When we need our fans to believe in them, we need you to, well, if not believe in them, be excited for them. Be happy to watch them play, win or lose. And to bring a little bit of that fighting spirit back to the LPL.
Has to be the idea. So, Zala, got a fairly okay win rate on the Jhin. Again, IG in general got weird win rates because they have played some interesting games. Though Mako has had a killer time on this Alistair. He has been so good at this champion for so long. That win rate does not surprise me.
It's his career most played champion alongside the Braum. Sadly, not been able to keep up his Thresh play rate because Thresh has been kind of garbage since 2022. We haven't seen that one for a long way. And someone asked in chat, why is the Shy so popular? Mako, of course, being another one of these players too. But why is the Shy so popular out of all these players in a league with Bin and Jackie Love? Bluntly put, because the Shy won the first World Championship for the LPL. Let's see if we double all in, actually, from the World Summoner. Hang on a second. Punt backwards. Ahead. Play safely here.
Nice damage back, and Era just helps get that one going down in favor of Mako, who just presses the heal, and the Rakan dies very early on at the level 2. The Shy now in danger top side. Flash away, gets the last rights healing, hit by the deadly spines, and the Plants won't quite get it. Last auto will do the work, though.
Breathe. Tanking that tower up, and Tien gets himself the Zyra classic. Hard farm, gets towards the lane on one side of the map, and kill him quickly on that first clear. He chooses to go towards top side, not bot side. However, on the other side, though, Erher, ill-fated all in. Gets punted back by Mako on that Alistair, talking about him as, such a valued player here within the LPL. One of the reasons why, of course, he is popular is because of the international tournaments, but the real big thing for the Shy, just going back towards him, of course, he just died in that last play. He was part of the first team to win win Worlds and break the Korean era of dominance. And he was like the main carry of that team alongside Rookie as well. But the Shy, I think in particular, just he became the icon in terms of like carry top laners. After we had an era of tank top laners within the LPL, the only 2 carries that were really around in the top lane for the LPL were Flandre in Season 5 And then the Shy really coming in and winning Worlds in Season 8, which kind of revolutionized the top lane carry pool. A lot of people think of LPL top lane now as, oh, well, they all play duelists, they all play carries. That wasn't the case. When Mako and EDG won MSI in 2015, it was off the back of Kora 1, Amazing J, and players like that, playing stuff like the Nautilus top lane, the Urgot top lane, things which are more like fighters, bruisers, tanks. As opposed to like more of the duelists of like the Aurelia, the Akali, the Kayle, stuff like that, which the Shy became very popular for afterwards. The Shy has forever been so very, very flashy. And yeah, the guy has just really gone from popularity to popularity here in the LPL.
Works out. I remember when we were wondering whether it was going to be a bait pick. Seems like it has been anymore. We've seen a lot of very good Yorick wins. It's not always been perfect. I think the win rate will still be somewhere around the 50% mark, but you can see what the strength of the champion is supposed to be.
Yeah, Jake being walked with this and comment over and Onivia saying, haha, the Shy is popular because he got destroyed by Zeus in the World Finals. Just saying, Zeus' favorite player is the Shy. If you can take it up with him, he loves the Shy, and they practice together, they scrim, they do 1v1s together. A lot of these players which you can paint as rivalries, they often have very good relationships because they've been in the scene and achieving so much, and they learn from each other. Often when you're at the top of your field, you will end up being practicing against each other to learn from the very best, and the Shy and Zeus have done that for many years. Of course, the Shy was all around for a long time before Zeus as well, winning World Championship before Zeus was nearly on the pro scene.
So, what is now the end of game here? It was an end game, really. We're only 6 minutes in, but like...
End of game.
End of game. I said it very Japanese.
End of the game.
Good decimating smash chunk there. Breathe. We'll get that right. Assuming he's gone grass. Can't tell, obviously, because they've got the stacks over the keystone.
We'll check next time he's on screen. You see that little green glow around them when they have the proc ready, and of course you hear it on the sound effect as well. Grasp was nice sound effect up there with the... Oh yeah, he does that. You can see the you can see very briefly that the green little stack around his arms. So yeah, Breathe has that grasp, which is no surprise. Not really sure why. Yeah, I guess he's gonna ult towards top lane. Gets the hang on. He gets the honey free. Uses the ult. Is he gonna go for a full trade?
I think he might do. Gets a bit of a chunk into the Roar of the Slayer and the decimating smash. That's actually a pretty good chunk there onto the Shy. He doesn't have a TP. We'll get this wave largely shoved. Breathe grabs all the waves aggro. Manages to do a fair amount of work then.
Yeah, I was wondering if you wanted to freeze it out, but nope. Gonna go for clipping the wave. Not hitting the whole wave with that Q, actually. Want to see what his full plans are. So he is going to set up a freeze. He's not full clearing it. Kills a couple of minions to clip it. You want a 4 minion advantage to keep a freeze. Any more than that, and it'll push into your turret a little quickly. A little less than that, it'll be a problem.
What's the Shy on the minimap? Well, initially path towards bot lane, then kind of dither and head straight through his own red side jungle. He's not sure where he wants to go.
Yeah, he is dithering, because I think basically what he realized, like, I don't have flash. If someone comes top lane, I die. What they need, though, at this point, Garlic, you need to reset immediately and run top lane. The wave is going to hit towards that top side turret. The Shy is going towards bot side, but I feel like Gala should have recalled a wave earlier than this to help out the top lane side. It is crashed in now, but they could have... because I believe what will happen now is the wave is going to be held up from Breathe. He can. I actually wonder if he can still get a freeze outside the turret. Gala is going to head up towards that, but I wonder if it should have been a wave earlier. IG, the early swaps, not necessarily their cleanest.
No, we've already said that IG sometimes have a few too many cooks in the kitchen, a few too many ideas on how they want to play the game. It's hurt them in the past. Remember, there's been some conversations with various members about how they want to play the game. It's been a bit problematic, and it's led to some difficult scenarios when the gameplay isn't as obvious in terms of what you want to be doing on the map. Grub number 1 was just secured by Weibo Gaming. They are currently doing the rest of them. JJ got a little hunting with the Swirl Seed, won't quite find it. And the latest attempt there from Mako to try and headbutt into the Swirl Seed, but won't quite do it. And all 3 grubs are indeed picked up by Weibo.
Of course, another strength of that Zyra, so good at clearing through them, so that'll be used effectively. I am worried for the Shy. Fallen behind in this early matchup. No grubs to help him out with the split push and pressure, so IG can't. So IG can't. I'm not going to pull the ultimate out. Going forwards, healed, blown. Charm lands.
Deadly flourish out as well into double pulverize as well. So good trading, but now I think Mako just can't really go anywhere. And Ura just hit the level 6 as well. Valiant effort.
But look at this. Look where the wave is. This was set up by Breathe. It's still in that same position. IG switching a wave late because they didn't see the freeze coming from Breathe means that they fall into this situation. They lose the grubs. They lose the top side kill as well. Weibo, all of this is off of Breed, going down to get that honey fruit, good trade onto the Shy, and then getting that wave control there. Really well played from him. That might escape some people's notice because it's just, it's just a swap or whatever. But Weibo, take one good trade in topside, one good set of wave management, and they make that into a whole series of plays. But, Breed, he's not going to be able to do that well in the 1v1 versus the Yorick still. You still don't win that very well. But he's wave clearing out well enough, making sure that the plate doesn't get taken easily here, and he'll do his best.
Decent chunk there. Maiden gets Roar of the Slayer into the turret. Nice from Breed. And there goes the wife. Can we kill the wife? The answer was yes, you can. JJ going to be on this Scuttle Crab. She better pick this up. Tien is there with Era. Go also around to end. Potentially a 3v3 around this side. Yorick zoning on up towards the top side. Too much there. There go the teleports becoming unleashed. Have their full power.
Why did that sound slightly like as if Palpatine was played by Schwarzenegger? It's unlimited power.
Unleashed.
It's treason then.
It's treason then, yeah. Have you ever heard the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Leave to power somewhat deem unnatural. There's a really funny there's a guy, I don't know whether it's a YouTube channel, but I've seen it on TikTok. There's someone who's done like a short series of videos called Mukbone, which is like a guy pretending to be, a Schwarzenegger action movie character, but like it's where all the guns in very much a Bugsy Malone kind of way. All of the guns are instead trombones instead. Like, I'm going to put down the weapon. Just starts firing trombones at people. Oh, it's great. Anyway, go check that out at some point. The Shy finally gets the plate. Hey! Finally! Takes a turret shot for it. Breed has no mana, but neither does the Shy.
Yeah, I feel like there's the grass proc. It's time to get a fair amount of damage. Try to just get the last rights trail in favor as the Shy tries to speed himself away. It should be okay. Got worried there for a second.
Breed only has 20 mana. He can't exactly do much for that. The cookies don't give you mana back anymore. They used to. If he'd had that old version, would have had the mana to kill, but of course, that's HP. The Shy, realizes, look, the Shy can't really do that much, can he? Walking up in that lane, and again, Tien's coming over. The Shy choosing to stay around. Has Flash, has Teleport. If the plant comes through in here, it will cancel the recall. Needs to get in quick, though. The Shy cancels the recall. I wonder if he would have been safe. He's very dead now.
He's going to try his best. Flashes away from the plant for a second with the Stranglethorns come on down. The Dark Procession's nice, but unfortunately Breed isn't taking aggro.
Blows the Flash and dies. No one was helping him in that lane coming over. Tien, of course, on the Zyra. Very good at clear. Hang on a second. Headbutt back, maybe.
Pulverize, headbutt back into the Shockwave combo, very clean, and that means a very dead Era who's going to bleed out to the Dream Dust.
Oh, really nice combo maker. Finding the angle to get a full duration of CC. Shockwave afterwards, and Airhead goes down very easily. Shockwave helping combo, using the ult to tank the tower now. Oh, there's a failed flash!
And that's going to be a very dead Xiao who has a lilting Lullaby comes on down, and unfortunately for him, that Lullaby is the sweet, sweet release of death.
Good response on the other side of the map from IG, losing out in the Yorick matchup, which will be a problem for them. He even teleports in. Sign coming up to wave clear. Dark Procession stops the wave clear coming through, but it doesn't stop Breathe, of course, from turning up to the scene of the crime a little quicker than they can help.
Indeed, they do a fair amount of work there, and that's good work as the pandas are summoned once more. What a horrifying skin.
What, you don't like pandas, Sam?
I think in this context, they're not really pandas. They're like some horrible, twisted version of pandas that become man-eating monstrosities.
Yeah, it's like, sometimes you stop and think about a skin and it just becomes really concerning. Like, obviously, throwing actual just cats at people.
Meowkai is just horrifying.
Is like that. But also, what does Bard do with meeps? What are meeps to Bard? Is Bard like, a meep trafficker? Like, like the more I think about Bard, the more it just kind of comes around and is like, hi, I'm picking up these, these wandering people, and I'm going to fling them at people for damage. It gets quite concerning. Rookie's on the weak side of that. There are 3 people here. He switched over to the Ignite from spell, but Rookie will spot out Tien now, get some damage down.
Decent trade there with the command attack. Distance Shockwave. Will that force a flash? It will indeed.
I think that's really well played from Rookie because, Zyra hates playing stuff like Shockwave all the way since Season 3, back when both these champions were meta for, Faker's debut season, and a little after that from
Shockwave
as well.
The support.
Yeah, you just throw the QW and then Shockwave onto the support because, or in this case the jungle now, but onto the Zyra because Zyra can't protect herself against that. It means that she's no longer in a position to dive. Breathe, once again, wave clearing out as best as he can in this top lane matchup.
As the Soul Burn is running briefly and it explodes, having not had the shield break, so There's the wave large. The Shy will get back towards his wave and begin to whack it once more. Digit, topside. Doing all right here on this Lilia. Slight lead over to Tien, who's also got the early kills. Was one of our foremost Zyra players when that champion was at its zenith. Sorry, not exactly bad, but...
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, now a lot of her items have also been nerfed. I mean, there's stuff like the... So Rylai's has good stats, but ever since Zyra got changed, that she has less base damage and more AP scaling. Building lower AP items like now Leandri's, which has been nerfed down to 60 AP rather than, I think it was 70 for a point and then 65. So it's been nerfed quite a lot in terms of the actual stats it gives you. And then the Rylai's as well, which was very common. Feels kind of crap, so now what do you go for now? Do you have to go towards something like a Shadow Flame second? Do you want to go... I mean, actually, one thing which I have seen, because I played a game with Zyra recently, I was looking at builds for it. Stuff like Horizon Focus, not that bad for Zyra now, because it's so cheap. But then the problem is, well, it's not the on spell effect damage, like a Riftmaker gives you the Landry stacking, or the Rylai's, which gives you the slow or something like that. Tien's going to walk over, start up the Dragon. Jeja had briefly leashed it, which will be forced off of it now. Haven't really seen Xiaohu enter the game that much, besides the failed flash and the death on top side. Because he's losing the push towards the Orianna, won't really be able to do much around the Dragon, so both teams back off.
Really wants to pull the trigger right now. First item largely completed. Not done mid lane yet, of course, because there was a tier stop and the boots pickup and stuff, and Trinity Forces and item. All these things, yada 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 yada. Either way, isn't completed right now for the Corki, though. Should be a sheen completion and a bit of gold of that being done. It does mean that, as it stands, no additional item completed, and I feel like as a result, Weibo not as willing to fight right now.
IG, perhaps with that in mind, go towards the Dragon again. Tien does not want to be the first person into River, using the plants to be, pseudo wards. One of the things about Zyra versus... Hang on, they're jumping into the pit. Xiao does have Valkyrie. Don't manage to steal it. Tien not wanting to... Well, can't go Lord, doesn't have that flash. What do they do instead, though? They've done a bit of Safari and get hit by the W.
Era will try and keep people alive with the quickness as Stranglethorns come on through, but again, they really are just trying to dissuade people coming on in. Already they've lost their jungler. In comes Breather with a wonderful decimating smash. Mako flashes away, doesn't die. Nice combo. JJ now trading out onto Breathe, who doesn't enjoy trading with the Lilia at all. Light, Era, both low, both have to flash. The Dark Possession comes on out.
Tien was the first person into the play again, gets caught an IG pounce. Weibo didn't look for a cross map. They failed to take the fight and lose the Dragon. IG, significant advantage now on the red side, which is important given that for some reason blue side just kind of winning everything, especially for Weibo. He's not able to take away that Scuttle Crab, and IG, big fight for them now. Now we're in the position where Weibo just gave up a lot of gold. They gave up objectives as well. IG have a couple of different win conditions now. One, of course, you can look for the team fights, big shockwave onto the Zyra. Zyra will need a Zhonya's at some point.
Yeah.
But if you're not getting good gold, that can be a problem. Of course, doing well at farming right now is going towards that Rylai's second item. But if you have a Zhonya's here, maybe you can survive the play. Very good combo through here. Lazy positioning by Weibo though. Light and Xiaohu not in position to follow up. No good damage because the front line wasn't there either. So Tien realistically just should never be there, especially since the Dragon's already gone down. Lazy positioning by him. Insult to injury that they don't even get Mako on the other side of it. But later on, if he has a Zhonya's, maybe you can buy some time. But IG, they can threaten that Zyra, and of course the other win condition, which will become apparent now, is you can give up Dragons for split push advantage from the Yorick. No, he's not ahead right now. He's still going to be a threat later on, grubs or no grubs. IG in the strategic advantage now.
Very much so. And again, we have to call out what was happening with that. So we've had a couple objective plays now where people have kind of turned up and not really done all that much. Again, tried to come and contest. Xiaohu blast coned into the back of the pit and had to Valkyrie out. Wasn't really in a great position to fight afterwards. It was all a little bit awkward. The Herald we go. IG starting it up. Yorick split pushing on the other side as Rookie is zoning off with the ball on the other. These spines come on through and IG not as willing to just brute force this play. Gala already got a lot of traps set up in mid lane. One of the reasons why Jin is actually very obnoxious to deal with is he puts traps down everywhere, and so ganking him is very annoying.
Yeah, it's the Maokai, Shaco, Nidalee bushwhack kind of thing, where you get down like half vision. These champions always have extra value in pro play because anything which gives you extra information or pseudo warding potential always becomes more important at a pro play where you can use that information in a more coordinated, effective fashion. Ash Hawk shot also on that list too, stuff like that. So Jin, 1,000 gold ahead, able to push up, has gone for a bit of the Mosquito build. The Collector into the Sarn is going to suck at some point. The Rapid Fire Cannon not exactly helping with that either, but then again, with full range champions, you need some access to hit them.
Otherwise, walking up from an ortho into a Varus Corki Zyra does sound kind of miserable.
Are all the blue line spot seeds? Not all of them on the map, but yes, Zyra seeds do count on the minimap. You can see them. A lot of them, because it's the Chemtech Rift, a lot of them are extra plants, because more plants spawn on the Rift. So a lot of them are that. And also you can see some bits on the map for Infernal when it's the Cinders and stuff like that too. Herald started, peeled off of. IG, you know, not behind a huge amount of gold, but the question is, how do you apply your gold? Something like the Poke Barracks, like this is big. You land another arrow onto Gala and suddenly maybe he can't fight in the same way. Of course, going to still apply he can still use his W and his ultimate. But Weibo, I'm getting quite worried for them now. I don't think they have an answer to the Yorick in a side lane. Corki hasn't hit 2 items yet. He's not like as strong as he could be. I just don't see how the team fights work out unless Air has a blinder. He's not had that so far.
They could just want to blow the ultimate. Will instead burn the heal. Just get to walk away. The damage is very annoying, and that'll leave Mako at half HP.
Good thing to keep track of here now. I was talking about bemoaning a little bit the state of Zyra itemization. Zyra Varus, though, when you have the Rylai's, the plant obviously very good at tagging people with the slow, means that it's much harder to dodge something like that Varus arrow. That could be very important later on. You can kind of play double poke composition with the Zyra applying the Scorch Claw and of course the Leandries. Varus hits afterwards, and that does become a bit more of an issue. Breathe trying to take some damage off the maiden, can't kill it though.
Can't quite get on top of that. Gets to run away. IG with a mildly favoured outcome of this game so far, but no, certainly not game-breaking. Right now, Xiao did just cancel his back, and Mako is around. I feel like Xiao needs to be a bit wary here. He doesn't know the Alistair's around. Try and get this one out. Just to see that ward go down, I think. Xiao, who you've got to be aware that people are hunting around for you, and he is in fact safe. That ward placement, I think, ended up giving him a little bit of a clue about what's happening. Mid lane. Looking at Gala holding alert. Dragon has just spawned, and it is going to be Weibo who are in the river first.
Breeze's going to look for a second item before this play. Hullbreaker built up for Scion, so it's much more about, you know, empowering his cannon minions. Hullbreaker does give you more teamfight value, by the way, folks. Now, every 5th auto attack does extra damage. Pain in the arse. I want to see how much value Weibo get out of their double range, potentially triple range of Corki joins as well composition. Shaggy does have teleport. Not going to teleport in quite just yet, though. Harold going to go in towards the mid lane. I don't think it full kills. It's going to get close, though. Oh, I'm wrong. There it goes. The buffs to the Herald meant that the first charge does a lot more value than it did earlier in the season and, of course, in years past.
Damage there onto the turrets as well, as they do get Corki getting that top side shove as well. Good work there from Xiaohu, but IG in the jungle looking to get the soul point here relatively rapidly. It would also be feats of strength for them, I believe. ETN try and get in there and steal. Doesn't want to burn the flash and die for it, so it does end up being IG get themselves to soul point and feats of strength.
Pick up, extended flame, blows the flash, realizes there these the jig is up. Weibo, give up a dragon, give up the soul point, the Chemtech soul points for side lane farm towers. This time they actually do cross map. My problem is they probably should have done this for second dragon when they lost the dragon and the fight afterwards. Realistically, you probably should have just been elsewhere on the map. For this one, feels like now by giving over the third dragon, now you're in again a bit of a worry. Because, yeah, now you're against that soul point. I know it's Chemtech, it's not always the most valuable, but when you have extra healing and shielding power from the base Chemtech dragons, a second one there, 6%, that does technically apply towards Yorick's Q heal, which can be a real pain on Oriana's shielding as well. Atacon started up. Weibo tanking the objective. You don't really want to be doing that. They want to be poking. Taking this down for now, though. How good of an engage can IG find?
Looking for sure. Down at half HP. Atacon.
But I think IG can now start this now. Half HP on Light and Airhurt. It's been leashed as well. I think they can go towards this. IG maybe now a little afraid of the poke coming back towards him. But yeah, this has now been leashed, and Weibo maybe have just taken too much damage.
Breeze going to try and step forward down to 4k HP. TN in the pit, though, and we're going to have a bit of a flip back again. JJ going to turn this one into a smite fight. Secured by Ricard. That's
Spellbook!
But the Lilia comes on down. Spellbook value on the smite. Caught me off guard, certainly caught IG off guard. Fight after, getting ugly as Breed needs to try and back out here. The curtain's being called. Lilting Lullaby has also hit Light as he was hit by the Deadly Flourish, and this makes things very interesting indeed as Light needs to cleanse away, dodging a lot of those shots. Is just about alive, but not very healthy as the Shy behind, keeping them trapped under the turret. There's nowhere to run, it's fish in a barrel, and the Shy will send their last right towards the Morning Mist comes on down. Sanctifying their ground they lay in, and the Cemetery Keeper ensures there's enough freshly dug holes to put all the bodies in.
IG take the leash on the Atakan to find a fight. Now, they don't get the objective itself, but I don't think they'll care that much about it. They've won every fight in this game so far, and Weibo, I feel like by tanking the Atakan and losing so much HP, they invited this in themselves. They've struggled to play on the macro. They've given up most of the objectives in this game, and yes, they do get the Spellbook Smite to secure this one. I don't think it's going to make them feel that much better. We'll go back into a replay of this. You can see on the bottom half of your screen, Rakan does have the Spellbook Smites. They have the double smite. Both of them come through. They coordinate that, and they get the value through from it. But then, you know, you pulled yourself out of position to look towards that Atakan. You were already low HP from tanking it before the play comes through. Breed is left in 1v4 basically beyond this point. The Shy flashes over the wall to make sure he can get a bit of a flank coming through, and it means they're trapped fish in a barrel.
Nowhere to run with the Shy behind. There's nowhere out. Rubs tanks some stuff. Shots keep coming on through. Gala gets to pop some dancing grenades across people, and the Shy hits some bonks on top of Breed and Shouty's heads.
Fourth shot secures that last kill. So as we come back into live, we're getting closer towards the Dragon Spawn. 2 minutes until that. We have an Infinity Edge on Gala now, who picked up so many kills from that last play. He's funded himself the big boomstick after that point. Rookie gets himself the Feet of Strength, upgraded boots, which are very efficient on this patch, particularly the Spellslinger shoes. They give you things like an extra 6 or 8 magic pen and an extra 7% pen as well, which means that you can get some extra percent pen without having to buy something like a Blighting Jewel as well. Rookie, having a good game so far himself. Weibo, they haven't been able to use their range. They haven't been able to stand up and say, let's just poke out with Rylai's slows and enabling arrows to land from the Varus. They've not really been able to do that. And now suddenly, Varus 2.6 KK, not KK, that'd be a million. 2.6 K behind.
That's the one.
That's the one, as opposed to like kilojoules or whatever, KJ. Yeah, it means that the first poke doesn't really do that much.
And Gala got a quadruple up that last play. Now it's a full Infinity Edge. Not so much of a Mosquito build anymore.
Yeah, he's got the boomstick. So, IG, all he needs to do is find another fight. How do they do that? JJ has Flash. Doesn't have the, wasn't bullet yet, the Seekers. Dragging up in less than a minute now. Weibo getting pushed in on bot side. That's not going to help them that much. Baron is available if Weibo wants to start it with the Zyra, I guess. They could say, okay, well, you go towards that Baron. We have the Zyra, killed it very quickly. Rookie might look for a Shockwave instead. The sleep lands!
Oh, and they're going to be trapped eating Baron damage. That's just filthy.
Disgusting. Jungler dies just before the Dragon spawns by trying to get Baron vision. This is one of the reasons why AP junglers, like the Karthus, the Zyra, the Brand, fell out of meta as well, too. They're not strong enough to just do tons of damage to you. You pick them off when they go for the warding, and IG say, well, we don't need the Dragon now, let's go Baron.
Hit by the singular swell seeded aggro Baron. Another buy into Shockwave and you're dead. That's true of most people, it has to be said. Baron is going to get melted in real time. Taken away, flank angle now, potentially over this wall. Watch for it. Mako looking for the Mega Blast Cone. Can look for the headbutt. Gets Breed into the wall. Not the best target ever. Sounds like a good angle, but can't quite get as much value as they're hoping. But there's the flash. Pulverized. Xiaohu going to flash away in trade. Quickness comes on down. The curtains are called. Xiaohu needs to Valkyrie out to safety. Not the best angle. Not always Gala's most fantastic options this game, but the damage still done. Breed needs to try and breathe a little bit longer, but unfortunately there is no respirator to keep him up and functioning. He turns into a zombie and they'll pull the plug.
Tien's alive, so there is a smite available for the Dragon. Not going to be allowed over there though. Does have a flash to get over the wall if you want to go for some crazy steal attempt. IG, in the last few minutes, basically ever since the second Dragon, have taken over this game. Weibo not had an answer to the Yorick, not been able to get ahead in lanes, not been able to play the team fights out either. You needed a certain point to just sit and get some poke down, but they've not been allowed that. IG, much better at finding fights, and yeah, Weibo now staring down, potentially losing a blue side game and going down 2-1, match point in the series.
Rookie, got 10 stacks on the Dark Seal, got a Verdant Barrier. How on earth are you picking him up? That's a Phantom Dancer in for God. He's not going for the pen build. Doesn't care. The people he wants to kill is anybody but Sion. This means he can glide around a fight with the fleet footwork, with the Energize on your rapid fire, with the Phantom Dancer. This guy will be so annoying to stop.
And because you're 100% crit, every auto attack gives you that increased speed boost. And with the speed boost from the double Zeal items, you don't escape the Jhin now. And yeah, you will have problem. Hang on a second. Xiao double engage over onto Rookie.
Shockwave onto Xiaohu though. Oh my days, that damage. Swirl Seed lands as well. Lilting Lullaby. He'll be going to a long, long nap. Breed once again on life support. But he isn't doing all that well here. Tries to throw out a decimating smash, and really it's only like a one-part smash. There's no 10 people dying. Anyway, they'll back away as the Maiden does go down. The Shy loses
The Senti smash.
The
Centimating smash.
The centimating smash.
Okay, so that will be top bot turret taken down. IG, I think this is the point where they at least break the base. They might break the game here as well. Gala is so strong. One more bit of CC lands, a Jin W, something like that. The game could just end after this point. Weibo, you have a little bit of wave clear left, but against the Baron buff, that means a lot less. It's a 7,000 gold power play. 7,000 gold power play. One of the largest I've ever seen.
Get so many turrets. They get themselves into a massive position. The curtains are called lights now in danger, trying to clear the bloody wave. Hit with number 3. Full shot doesn't hurt that much right now with HP bars being a little too high.
Yeah, would have had to hit all of them, I think, to have a threat of a kill. And even, well, sometimes they get surprised by Jin damage. Not going to be...
Because it's all missing health as well, so the lower you are, the more damage it does.
Now, it used to be the case back in... I think released Jin, one of the more... unbalanced champions we've seen in League, where it wasn't missing HP damage, so you could build like you'd go Death by Touch to like give you extra damage over time and blah blah blah. But you could in late game just Q 4th shot someone and just get a targeted 1-shot. Absolutely insane. And also when you had like the old Duskblade of Drakthar builds, you'd go towards you would hit someone with all 4 shots, and with the Death by Touch like applying to them, you would just kill them. So. Last inhibitor standing is top lane. IG pushing that in. Yeah, the wave clear, I don't think it's going to be enough even with the Baron buff down. Now Tien hit once again. Mako hanging out around the flank. All 5 members of IG on top side hit. They really want this turret. I think they'll get it for free.
Will do. Get the Deadly Flourish down. Continue to throw some autos out. Good work from them. Gala loses half their HP bar, but it's not the end of the world there.
Doesn't do that much damage to the side. He's hitting the one person who actually doesn't do damage during this game. Has a Last Whisper, so has some extra kill threat onto them, but not nearly as much without a full item completed off of that.
He's fast.
He's very fast. Every auto attack gives him the speed boost. I am the fast, screams Jin, the old Earth build coming back to fruition. Creed trying to hold a front line, but what can you do? You've got to wave clear the other lanes as well. It's a real pain.
For a champion that's notoriously immobile, Jin is actually quite frustrating to get a hold of. Gala just keeps fleet footwork, autoing around, continuing to get some trades on down, gets a massive pop onto Light, cleanses some more, Breathe doing his best to hold the line as JJ throws out some blooming blows. The Shy in the backside gets the shockwave after on top of JJ. Breathe, nowhere to go. Throw out a decimating smash, and instead Gala will execute him. Has a 4th shot, who's needs to flash away. My days, Breathe does some damage, does get a little bit of healing there. As actually they're going maybe a little deep there, folks.
You know what? I don't think they care. Xiaohu's the only member left alive now. Yes, there's a low HP buzz. I don't think it will matter.
Take a bow of Xiaohu. The copter goes up into the air and is swiftly shot out by the flat cannon of Gala. IG win a red side game. 10-0-3 is the Jin. Puts on in all
the champion. Ugh. The temerity of people to try that. So they do lock in that Bard. Not an LPL specialty, but good here in the draft. IG, their game 1 draft was poor. Their 2, 3, and now 4, I like a lot more. Weibo have a quadruple melee composition into a Sejuani, into a Xayah, into a Bard. This is a very good anti-melee draft from IG. The worry is the Trundle does nasty things to the Sejuani. They can push out some of these lower mobility champions like the Xayah and Jace. Push them around a little bit with that pillar. Weibo, they are on survival point now. Elimination point from IG. Winner of this achieves top 4 in LPL Spring, and we'll wait to see the winner of Top Esports WE to see if their journey continues further than that. Back to even. Erher in Game 4 against JDG carried on the sets. If we can do it again here against IG. Crowd mic's turned off conspicuously for now. Where are our Gyos? Don't hear them. Interesting. No crowd mics for Game 4. No cameras over the crowd either. XC, thank you so much for the sub with the Prime. Always good to see you in chat. And of course the rest of you regulars as well. Always makes our day a little brighter when we see you chatting and enjoying yourselves in chat. Enjoying the LPL as much as we have enjoyed it over the last few years. I've spent a 10th of my life covering the LPL, folks. Since I was, yeah, I'm turning 29 at the end of this month. Spent 3 years covering it. Cast over 1,000 LPL games, and Weibo have been a big part of that. IG, for most of my tenure in the LPL, have been a middling team within this league. They invested hard, brought back their star players, their solo laners. Tien walking in at the level 1, spotted on a ward. JJ not going to start on this now. Spotted walking away. Good defensive ward from IG. Anyone else able to walk over? No. Everyone fighting for their level 1 wave. No one coming over to join right now. Rookie better wave clear. Level 1 air. Could potentially go for a flash face breaker. That's the danger of the set. Support Gala. Good reactions to flash away. No advantage in the bot side. Tien now afraid of Rookie walking over. Does he know he's on a ward right here? Maybe not. JJ hasn't started with a skill just yet. Spot Tien again. JJ starts with the W, not going towards that E. Guys, it's 2 minutes, 5 seconds, and no one's taken a goddamn camp yet. Tien will walk over towards that blue buff. Bot lane was no flash on the Xayah. First person to roam in towards the jungle, of course, gets a huge value here. Tien needs to stop this from resetting, and perhaps will do. Tien does not have vision over that side. Q hits from Maker. What did he level up level 2? Was it tunnel to get towards the play earlier, or was it the shrine? Might be very important. Oh, we're fighting with the smite. Tien walking over. Rookie in first.
I went to go get tea, and clearly it's been spilled. Shao trading with Rookie on the other side. Get the smite steal away from JJ. This is always dangerous. Mako has to heal. Running away. The passive is proc. Weibo getting the flash out of the bard as well.
JJ having to flash away, does have the smite back up. Tien, though, early invade, trying to get ahead as the Trundle versus the Sejuani, and it was not quick, but he does do it, stealing away 2 camps from the enemy jungle.
A lot of big summoner stolen as well. Mako down all of his, Gala down his own flash, JJ down the flash. It's pretty miserable there on the other side. What a wave of them. Some summoners off Era, boohoo. That's about it. It's really not that big a deal.
And Set's going for the Hex Flash. Didn't go Hex Flash the last time he picked out the Set support, by the way. I'm actually not sure if he had the right runes he was playing it now.
That's just so unplanned.
Maybe it's because he's against the double range this time that you absolutely needed to run out of the brush, and perhaps that's a break point when you're against the different melee supports instead. But oh, misses the counter -1 light. Ugh.
Did get a cool route though there, did Gala. I'll give him that. Breathe, going to get eaten alive there, but out to the skies into the thundering blow. Worth noting as well, JJ, I don't know whether you mentioned it while I was getting the tea, has gone towards the spellbook here, as Tien's gone for an invade here onto the Rebel, refusing to leave the enemy jungle.
So Tien has taken 3 camps.
They're all enemy camps.
He's taken his Raptors and then 2 enemy camps. He has had, if he takes the red buff, he's taken 3 enemy jungle camps and 1 of his own. This is the shit-eating Trundle. Like, the shit-eating grin is he runs into your side of the map and says, hey, do you want to fight? Breathe, does have flash. He knows his jungle's on top side, but they haven't spotted JJ correctly. Breathe!
Comes on down, needs to get a good flash. Yeah, there is the flash. Can they get in range of the flail? Missed it, JJ! You've done all the hard work.
Oh, so close. The first part of Sejuani's flail does not apply a slow. Breathe had Doran's shield and I believe a cookie ticking over. He'll be able to teleport in towards topside if he needs to. In fact, feels like he has enough regen. That is a huge missed opportunity for IG to get their topside ahead. A reminder, folks, when Weibo beat JDG, they went down 2-1 and came back in games 4 and 5 to win that series. Dare I say it? History does love to repeat itself every now and then. IG, a golden opportunity to end things out here. But behind in an important jungle matchup could be a huge difference.
Again, credit to JJ for staying alive, trying to make things happen. It's not been easy. Your lanes have all been shoved in. Trundle can just do this with the support. There's not a lot really as an individual player you get to do there aside from win that first smite fight. That's the only agency JJ had there.
Gala's switched up towards the top side. In this sort of situation, Bard tends to get more value. 1, because he can, you know, get good mobility across the map. But he also gets value from getting chimes across the map too. Mako, need to see him do something to help out the rest of his team. He appeared mid lane. Bard has not been an LPL specialty in the past. It's actually been more... You know what? NA Bard was pretty good. Of course, LCK being the best reach at it, as they are best at the
moment. Was one of the best Bards out there,
Yeah, it was absolutely awesome. Vulcan, also not a bad player of that too, and I'm sure I'm getting many of them.
When he was a support
a little bit, but I wouldn't call him, you know, the best support in that region, XYZ. He's gone back towards AD carry for reasons. He wasn't bad. But, Tien, the real hero of Weibo in this early game, though. We called it before this draft. Tien needs a good jungle matchup. He's gotten one of the best jungle matchups. Sejuani hates playing into Trundle. Has gone towards that spell because you mentioned before. Might get some extra help in bot side. Hex Flash was not able to get that much. Oh, and maybe able to get a little bit more than I thought. The tunnel sees Mako to safety.
Mabby in chat saying Mako's the only LPL support with the Enchanter license.
Enchanter license, I think, is a little different. I think Crisp is a wonderful Enchanter.
His engaged support's pretty interesting, yeah.
Well, it depends over time, but I really like Crisp's Lulu and his Renata. They can both be very, very good. But Mako is the best of them. I'll accept that. And that one I won't contest. But yeah, Enchanters in LPL, always a little bit of a harder question. Level 6 hit by Rookie heading down towards the Dragon right now. Tien walking over. I don't think this is a free play for Tien, actually.
He doesn't get hit by the center part of the Haymaker there. Does a decent job of trading back with the hypercharged shots. Tien gets the pillar. The Shy is so dead now. Nice pillar angle from Tien.
You get the smite.
You can try flashing for it. Gonna get the smite secure now. The turnaround comes on through. Tien's in danger, but they got the face breaker to make it a bit more interesting. Rookie slides away though. Makes it a 2-for-1 in the end in favor of Weibo, but they did get the dragon at IG.
They did. Tien, of course, going forwards, looking for the smite. Couldn't secure it. Jeje taking the initial leash from the Trundle. He will get that kill back. Kill goes over to Rookie on Yone as well, a champion which he's had mixed history on. When he was on top esports, his Yone often okay, but not able to carry that team to success back in 2023, of course, and 2022, I guess, just before that.
Genuinely think one of the watershed moments where some of our top LPL mid laners stopped being consistently top was when Yone became a de facto you must play this pick. And actually your rookies and your Xiaohus and to an extent your scouts just weren't quite as consistent on that champion versus some of our other mids.
Yeah, I think definitely LCK overtook on the Yone. I think that players like Knight have gotten better at it over time. I think that Scouts had some great opportunity. They went through the Swiss stage of Worlds Undefeated, partly due to that. This is the Trundle pillar into Jace, which we talked about before. Tien getting good value. Of course, after that, going a little too far. Back into live now, and that pillar has found another victim. Mako burning a flash, funneling out to safety.
Good work from Tien, finding a bit more advantage this time as Rookie does find a decent Q3 there, threatening quite well. Tien will eat a bit of damage. Blue buff not going to quite reset and should get stolen away as again they just continue to try and attack Jeje.
Yeah, really annoying playing the Yone into the Trundle because he chomps you and you lose 40 AD at max rank, which is really nasty. The gold swing of that amount of gold is like 2,600, by the way. You can lose a BF sword, he gains a BF sword. It's nasty. So Rookie, not getting as much value there. Of course, only level 6 at this point, not the maximum rank. Grub started up. IG behind a significant amount for this point in the game. Shy going to be helping Jeje take the first part of this. Breathe walking over. Could delay a little bit.
Just be a bit worried though, just Breathe, because again, Jace, with his hammer form, is very good melee synergy with the Sejuani, so do keep your eyes on that one. You have to be a little careful about overstepping here. Breathe gets to the skied by the Shy, and Breathe goes, that was uncomfortable, backs away a little bit, and the Grubs are secured by Invictus Gaming. They get both sets of early objectives. Also note, when we saw Light and Era trying to return to mid lane, really good cosmic binding and zoning actually cost Light about half a wave for a full wave there in mid lane as well.
YG managed to claw back a good amount of that gold lead as we were just talking about. I think it was difficult to play around that this early into the game. Good to see them take some micro advantages. The objectives, of course, good prize. Tien on top side. Again, just being the gremlin in the jungle, Trundle the king of those. There is flash left up on Jace now.
Maybe forced to burn, but like to go to the skies and then try and thundering blow someone back. There's the pillar. Finally feels like he can burn away. Does get out alive, but the summoner was popped.
Yeah, Shy holding onto his flash, knowing that if he flashes and then the pillar comes in, he dies.
Dead,
has to flash the other side of it. Does lose the summoner, but he'll be happy to at least escape that. Does have the teleport to get back towards lane. Not the biggest loss for him. Could have been much worse.
That it could. Rookie sliding through that wave well enough. Xiaohu here, matching the kills at least on this. Xiaohu Silas, intermittently very dangerous.
Do I remember Cream Yone Game 3 versus BLG? I do. However, Cream is actually one of our best Yones as well. I think what happened really is Cream just tilted off the face of the planet.
Yeah,
and got a little bit exposed. But let's be honest, playing badly versus Knight is a thing that every single LPL mid laner has done at some point. Even Yago, one of those people who just somehow managed to have good record versus him, and towards the end of his career got absolutely blasted by Knight, as many people have. Very few mid laners managed to survive, but it really is kind of some like Chovy really that's managed to escape the Knight's demolition over time.
Partly why some things say like that last World Final was so much fun, because Faker and Knight were going hammer and tongs at each other.
Yeah. If you go back and watch games 1 through 3, particularly in World Finals, Knight was bodying Faker. It was in laning phase and early lane. It's one of the reasons why BLG, well, let's be honest, BLG get nowhere close to that World Finals if Knight is not playing as well as he did. It was a fantastic tournament. But bringing it back to the conversation of LPL mid laners, players like Xiaohu and Rookie, they have had to see their crown be taken from them by the likes of Knight and other players of his caliber, of course. Well, I say other players of his caliber, there are very few of that. But like other people like coming in towards that fray, right? Rookie and Xiaohu, it feels like their era where they were uncontested dominance between the two of them in mid lane, them and of course Scout as well. That's over now. You have to get through Knight. It's been such a difficult conversation topic to broach for them. Breathe going to wave there on top side, but only much for him to do.
Has to run away. The Tempered Fate catches him. Oh, it's T1 barred as well. That's just Salt in the wound. Breathe just about sliding away there. Will get out to safety, but had to burn the flash. How much further can Rookie go? They heal to make it happen as Breathe goes in, and it's not quite enough. He does go down.
Yeah, Mako's the one that takes aggro, which means that the CC onto the Shy matters less. Breathe, an extended escape does delay. What that does mean is that Silas has to hit the bot side. Remember, they have the 3 grubs. They'll still get plates, but the plate comes in.
Gala, is it here? GG interrupting light means no easy route. The Shy, I think, is going to try and execute someone. Where does Mako go? He's going to die. Oh, IG, how is this one worked out?
Rookie uses a little bit of mobility, but the W pinging from the Kai'Sa means it's not just 1 dead, likely 2. Rookie dies. It's a solo kill from somehow also the Shy dies because Tien gets a kill there. So 2 solo kills, 3 I think as well actually. So 3 different members of Weibo getting 3 different solo kills to clean up the play.
He spends so long diving that Xiaohu gets a TP in and people respawn and come back in. It ends up being, in the end, a 3-for-1, a horrible mess.
IG, of course, trying to use their 3 grubs during this play to get some value onto Taz, and they do get plates on top and mid lane, but giving up that amount of gold, not awesome. You know, the individual gold over to Light now on the Kai'Sa. That's a problem. You know, I look at this team from IG. This is definitely a team which can be shredded by a Kai'Sa if someone is out of position. The Shy, ahead of 1,000 gold. Yes, he's doing fine, but this composition does punish a Jace very heavily. Trundle Pillar, Ambessa ult, follow up with either Silas or Kai'Sa. Not something that will be easy for the Shy to play through. He will have to be very, very on point with his positioning, or at least buy so much time and or cooldowns that the rest of his team can clean up and get value from it. Tien on the Dragon.
Towards the Dragon they go. They get a shot blast down there onto Tien, who does eat a bit more damage. Continue trying to chunk out as many things as they can here and get some good value in and where it's available. Gala gets pulled back by the face breaker into the haymaker, but the tempered face force the flashes as GJ ends up caught in it, unfortunately.
Oh, Shy.
And that's the Shy in a 1v2 as they try to split the play.
Just saying, hang on. Ult stolen in topside Xiaohu, 1v1ing his old rival in Rookie.
Oh, nice rebinding of the soul. We'll turn that one around well enough. Chain Lash comes on through Rookie. He's going to be forced to back away on that one, and the Dragon secured there is a little bit unfortunate in that team fight from Invictus game.
The Shy's positioning must be so pinpoint right there. He's trying to be a part of the play, but he's on a flank so separated that IG can't save him from top jungle. Another great pillar tunnel through this time, but Gala can't escape.
Can get in, but does get a good route. Well, barrier as well. Both summoners now blown. Doesn't blow the ult, interestingly.
Yeah, Light chooses not to follow up and trade ult for ults. Pillars from Tien have been great. His Trundle has been excellent from when we've seen it. Tien, a man on a mission here for Weibo. Top lane turret for Xiaohu as he won out the trade against Rookie. 1,000 gold up now on the Yone.
30 CS up as well after a couple deaths now from Rookie. Or at least a couple forced back. Got to clear himself some of that in the bot side at the very least, so it won't be quite as egregious as it looks right now, but still a bit frustrating for this unit that had been having some good moments before the last 5 minutes or so, where some of the team play has caught them out. Nice chunk there from Rookie. Trades well. Going to get him buffered back. Rebinds the soul. Looking to get on to Breathe. Everyone is down here. Another Q3 comes on through. Comes on through. It's a wonderful face breaker. Shijay's staying alive for a second, but Yone is already dead. They lose the jungler. The Shy is TP'd in, but it's now a 2v3 for the Skies to go as Light will flash to the other side, so go and get forced back to the turret. Flash away from Mako. Buys him die. The Haymaker lands, but over comes Gala. Looking to remember, he doesn't have a flash or a barrier. And there is Xiaohu. And they get another Weibo. Just cleaner on the collapses again.
And they're going to die under the turret. Xiaohu can reset aggro with Desire Ultimate. He's going to go in and just use it for the kill. Double over towards Xiaohu as the Shy. Oh, the Shy, you are in a big amount of danger.
Tries to clear the wave and dies for it. No way out. Goes out in an honourable fashion. 4,000 gold lead to Weibo Gaming, who brutalised the bot side fight.
IG took a 3-kill advantage in the top side a little earlier, but that's the only kills that they've had. They've not been able to clean up anything else. Weibo really through this Trundle have given IG hell. Tien got ahead from the early clear, continually putting Trundle pillars onto the people out of position, like the immobile Jace. And the Shy, it's a hard draft for him to play out. IG, I thought this draft was going to be a little easier to play out, but with Trundle getting so far ahead, with the Silas able to keep the Yone at bay as well, it's been very hard for IG to have a single platform anyway. Look at this, they're trying to farm 3 lanes. They send their jungle support down towards bot side, but so does Weibo as well. They send the same people. Rookie largely losing out in the 1v1. Yes, they do end up getting themselves that first kill, but flash ultimate, triple face breaker. Kai'Sa comes into the play with the semi-global. The teleport is too late. Much quicker on the trigger, and the roam will Weibo.
More damage as we see the replay. Xiaohu comes back on over with the Hex Gates, gets on into the picture-in-picture. The Shy's in danger, avoids the public execution, but the pillar still comes on down regardless, and there's nowhere to run. Has got a flash, doesn't burn it. Where do you go? He's 1 and 5 now on this Jace.
It's a hard draft to play. Yes, the Silas will die. That's an important kill over on the other side. Xiaohu getting shut down. Good gold over to IG. What's happening with their objectives? Nothing up right now, which means that Breathe is free to push in here. They don't have any grubs, which makes it harder to play around that. Hang on, Air's now caught out too as well. Not a bad face breaker, but he'll definitely die here. Trying to walk forwards for a face breaker. Problem with Set though, once you run out of summoner's mobility, easy kills over there. Jeje gets a ton of gold. He was behind almost an extra 1,000 gold ahead of this. Weibo give over another 2 kills and their shutdowns too. IG clawing back something. Mid lane turret now focused by Weibo. They'll take an objective too. IG finding their first kill since that top lane fracker. Xiaohu, I guess not expecting Jeje to come through. Melee synergy. Steals himself the Sejuani ultimate. Does throw it into melee range, just not enough really. Erha came around on that on the roam. Not able to be there in time. Now in a minute until Dragon. Will be second Dragon free of the team.
Gold lead. Being at 3,500 gold is pretty significant, it has to be said. The scary parts, that's into the Kai'Sa and into the Silas, who are well and truly in a fantastic position this game. Ironically, the Shy, because of the fact he might get a lot of turret plays and a lot of farm, is still largely even with the Ambassador. He's not really been involved in any of the kills against the Shy.
No, and I have to say, look, the Shy, he has positioned quite disrespectfully in the late game, but it is a very difficult draft to play the Jace. If the enemy team throws a Trundle Pillar at you, not much you can do except hope your team is in position to bail you out. So the question is really, why is he positioning the way that he does so far away from the rest of his team? IG must be in position to save their Jace, otherwise he will get taken down very, very easily in the way that he has done just before. There's 20 seconds till Dragon now. Neither team actually positioning for a contest. They're on the top side of the map instead. I think both teams realize, aha, objective is spotting. They'll never expect us to make a play on the other side of the map, except they have done.
Look for something more. Good chunk there onto Breathe, who does now eat a lot of damage. Doesn't quite get hit by the permafrost though, which would have been a nice chunk. Rookie pretty low here. Still trying to keep running on out. Doesn't have the flash. Public execution after flash, but well buffered through-ish by the Fate Seal. But the Showstopper comes on through. The Tempered Fate does buy a fair amount of time. Will allow a lot of things to wear him out. The Redemption comes on through. Rookie finally falls. Xiaohu goes golden. Permafrost not quite triggered. As they try to keep people alive and just can't do it.
IG, they choose not to pull the trigger on the teleport from the Jace. Herald Turban's topside, that will be the inner turret going down, and perhaps a Trundle Pillar will make things interesting too. On the other side, the Shy using the 3 grubs.
For the chomp, he's now quite deep. Glacial Prison afterwards, can't quite kill him. Gala flashing away, the barrier comes on down. Oh, the sky binding! It's glorious. Into the backline goes light with the killer instinct, trying to cleanse away, but he needs to run further. Flash away into the Herald. He's gonna get out. Absolute siege. DN's still here. The Shy is TP'd in. Will Shock Blast 1. How much further can Light get out? He's on no HP and somehow escaped with the Herald. That is unbelievable.
The getaway driver once again. LPL has made a bit of a habit of using the Herald as an escape vehicle. The Shy, however, during all of this, still gets that bot lane turret. What a series of mechanical plays across that last fight. Erha, not a bad ult coming through, but Mako's contribution in that play was absolutely sublime. Makes that a play absolutely playable as opposed to what it was before. Dragon is still up and available. Both teams could potentially angle towards that. The Shy getting another turret on top side. Got a kill there as well. Of course, onto, I believe it was Tien in the back end of the play. Gets both side lane out of turrets and is suddenly 2,000 gold ahead.
That's pretty wild. Let's have a look at this again, because this play was mental. I thought Weibo had lost their minds.
Yeah, it's flash for the Chomp, steals some AD. Doesn't have the pillar just yet. Lots of CC coming down onto him. Gala, lucky to get out for as long as he did. Light, yes, does end up cleaning up the fight. That wouldn't have happened either way, really. It's just whether he would have given his life for it. The Herald is down. How he survives this is
28 HP.
Insane. The Shy tries to see if he can kill the Herald. The eye doesn't open up in the back. It only opens up now, though. Anything that might have been able to give him the kill. Not able to do so. Shy only able to get the 1 kill, but as we said, 2 turrets and the kill gets him towards a 2.5 item.
Important that makes this Jace quite scary now. They'll look to play around this Dragon. It's not the end of the world if they give this one up. Honestly, IG, they can afford to wait a little bit longer. JJ has now got the Randuins as well. You've got 2 items. Largely everywhere but Rookie.
Yeah, so Dragon goes down. They don't have teleports, though, which means that gold lead on the Jace is not there right now. They need to avoid a fight until he can get back into position. I think what Jace should do is maybe push up mid lane, get 1 more wave there, and see if they can get towards the Atakan, unless they want to contest this. They don't really have the vision for this, though.
Giving up 2 objectives kind of sucks. I'm not going to lie. They have no way to put wards down very easy, and it is just gone. would have been very challenging. I think that is the way. They're going to potentially come and threaten Mako there, who will cancel the reset briefly, but isn't caught out.
I think Weibo were, angling around, Ambassador ultimate, light over the top, especially if Jace isn't immediately there. Someone dies before the play comes through. This is why, if you've tuned into our streams before, you'll have heard us talking a lot about globals and how they are very important because they're quicker than a teleport. Even if the Shy had a teleport there or could roam down, the fight would be over before that move would complete. If you have something like a Kai'Sa, you get to join in on the play and make a quick pick. But ever since teleport was slowed down heading into this year, it has felt like globals have gained more power because they are just that much quicker at responding to players jumping forwards. Still got a significant lead himself. Rookie not really been able to get that much value out of the Yone this game. If he can get a big monster combo later on. IG very much hinging around the fact that the Shire has a gold lead. Hopefully he can get some poke down before he gets caught out by Trundle.
My work here is done. Rookie eats some keys. Try and trade this one back-ish.
Breathe can ult him.
He's got JJ coming down. That's why they're trying to do it. They're trying to keep Breathe interested. Misses the Mortal Steel part 3. Public Execution in. Still has the flash to work with and the fate sealed. So it's always going to be a hard wasp for the side of Breathe. He keeps looking forward. Rebinds the soul. Nicely done by Rookie. Even from the deficit, Breathe will likely just die here to the feathers. Deadly Plumage does its work.
Fancy footwork from Rookie. They layer the CC, keep Rookie out of melee range, and keep him alive. So Breathe goes down. He'll lose himself some more gold because he's not there to pick up farm. However, Weibo will be able to push in both other lanes and deny some farm from IG.
Rookie finally has the Immortal Shield Bow, gets that off that pick. This is very important. Can now head topside and get a little bit safer into this. I was going to say Sejuani, but Silas is the name of that one. Looking to see whether we can find something there. Can't quite, but that's okay. He's scaling into the game as the owner. He will eventually become quite scary in his own right, just not right now.
How did Tien go from 2,000 gold ahead to 400 gold ahead to 2,000 gold ahead again? I guess he was all of the tower kill participation that he got involved with. Jeje, I mean, if he hadn't got those shutdowns earlier in the game, he'd be actually close to like 3,000 gold behind, which is an insane stat. I know it's a bad jungle matchup, but falling behind like that is
it's rough,
terrifying.
He's down about 56, and again, a lot of that's off the early shove as well. There's lots of things going on there, and in fairness, you are a Sejuani. You're in an okay spot this game. You've got your 2.5 items. There are worse places to be as a Sejuani still.
Which team has better scaling? Really depends where the fight happens.
Yeah.
If it's a split fight, I really think that Weibo had better advantages. I think that the Silas, the Ambessa, the Kai'Sa, they follow up on a fight much more quickly than a Jace can do, or a Zyra in that case too. However, if it's front to back, and if it's front to back, I think IG have more tools to deal with, especially if it's a slower fight with multiple shock blasts being able to chunk out some extra HP bars.
And if Weibo hear the call of Leroy, if they hear the call of the Jenkins, if they all decide now is the time
second only to the call of the Cthulhu.
Exactly, yeah. And they start screaming and blindly ult in, you can end up diving into Tempered Fates, into Feathers, into Glacial Prisons, and all those things. In fact, we nearly saw it around that inhibitor, right? Like, there are tools there to really punish that if Weibo are too cavalier in their engages.
A good point in chat as well. We talked about this in Champion Select, but it's not necessarily become as relevant. Trundle is unkillable with full armor. That's definitely a factor. IG are a full physical damage team. However, that doesn't apply to the Kai'Sa. It doesn't really apply towards the Silas either. Yes, he has the Zhonya's, but it's not that much difference. Tien does have Flash. Nah, who am I kidding? It's Trundle. He'll walk forwards and fight.
Permafrost, the Void Seeker does land there onto Gala.
A couple of them have landed now. Scary stuff. Dragon now in 40 seconds. IG do not want to give a soul point over to Weibo. Wouldn't give a soul stuff. They can technically afford to get one more. How much value can the Shy get? He needs to get some poke. Has the Serpent's Fang to deny some shield value.
Trying to jump onto Breathe there. Shock Blast straight on top of Breathe, and now he's in a lot of danger. The Q3 goes wide. Public Execution, but is also wide. Ends up being an ult burn for just the E cooldown on the Own.
If he'd hit that, I think Xiaohu could have followed up with an E. Dragon now up in 20 seconds. Breathe doesn't have teleport to come back to the play quickly.
Hex Gates, though.
Hex Gates do help. You're absolutely right. Definitely something to keep in mind. Dragon up now in 10 seconds, and yes, Baron is available.
See, there's the Trundle top, so trying to get a hold of that Scuttle Crab. They don't know he's there, but does that mean they're going to try and rush the Dragon on timer? This gets a bit interesting.
No, it's there now. They'll always seen that burst of vision. Of course, Weibo can give over a Dragon, give it 2 for 2. They can 2-man it. Trundle can definitely tank this for a long time. Has a lot of armor to keep this. Jeje is over the wall. They blue trinket it. On the other side, the solo laners, both with teleport, taking Dragon.
It's not being taken quite fast enough. I think they feel like they can walk. Do they have another wall? No, they don't.
Steal.
Jeje get it in!
The ultimate!
Can they buy his body? Can be a flip? He gets it! JJ is the absolute king of thieves! Another steal for the man in the jungle for Invictus Gaming.
JJ wins those. Another clutch late game smite. One thing you can always count on is JJ's smite key.
Just never let him in the pit. He does it again. He can't keep getting away with it. Yeah, he does. The Shy will flash away. Needs to be a bit wary of Tien getting a run at him. Is on the frozen domain. Tien has to flash out, gets too hypey, looking to get something back in the game. Breathe. And Xiao Hu now here. The hijack Glacial Prison. Can't find a good angle though, and they will magical journey away. Baron buffs circling their bodies.
I can't believe JJ does it again. I can't believe that Weibo let them get away with that. Weibo choose not to fight around the dragon, but they just don't understand how quickly it will go down to both Jace and Yone both taking it. It's very rare to see both solo laners taking the dragon and then teleport up. I normally only move one person down to that dragon to then teleport up. Happens this way though. JJ, helped by the fact that the Bard ult comes through, I think it just throws everything into panic stations. No, basically, goes down so low. 10,000, 1090, that is a low, that's a very high amount of HP for a smite. Typically an extra auto will take it down. Into that kind of range can be really spooky. The Bard ult throwing Weibo off their rhythm. If you are trying to sit in the pit and you are the one taking the Baron, so often you are the ones to lose it when things get a bit chaotic.
Both TPs were burned there as well. Mako gets that turret in mid lane. It's only the third turret of the game for Invictus Gaming. The gold is now in IG's favor.
IG have a gold lead. IG have a gold lead. The Shy is the grand majority of their piggy bank, but they do get themselves a dragon, they get themselves the Baron, and now suddenly Weibo, they can't push in across the map in the way that they want. Let's not walk into that, folks.
Tien, I'm not sure about that one. Glacial Prison lands, hasn't yet to be able to press the subjugate key. Cosmic Binding afterwards. Tempered Fate lands on down, but that's put JJ in a difficult position. Has got a ghost to roll with if he needs to. I apologize, it's a TP. I'm getting confused by the smite. The summon a spellbook on the Sejuani, confuzzling me for a second or two. Yeah. The dizziness ends for a second.
Not the best. Well, that was the Silas Temper Fate, which helped out with that, of course. And Mega still has his own. I was like, well, why would he cast it there? It was Xiao Hu which stole it beforehand. I'd missed that one. Shock Blast landing. The Shy using some of his gold lead now, and the 3 grows making it much easier to take the turrets.
Frozen domain required there. Tien, just enough move speed to get out, or he would have been in serious trouble.
Yeah, I see some confusion in chat as well. I also thought Mako was inting. It wasn't him. It was Xiao Hu saving his own jungler with the stolen Tempered Fate. IG walk away. 4,000 Baron power plate, getting themselves a lot more even across the board. Silas no longer with a almost 2,000 gold lead himself. Rookie's managed to make himself up a lot of gold there. Remember, folks, this is elimination point for Weibo. If Weibo lose to a JJ patented Baron steal in a game they were in so far in advantage of, they will be kicking themselves.
A 2-5 Jace is 2.6k ahead of the Ambessa on the other side. And don't get me wrong, I think the Shy has actually largely played this game pretty okay. It's just Weibo have been better on the collapse and the Shy has been the target. It's been quite hard to play around, but this is the threat of giving this guy enough side lane power.
Bard seen on Vision will spot out Tien on that side. I don't think he spots anyone else. I think they were just outside of the Vision radius there. Weibo playing Smoke and Mirrors, and they kind of have to. They kind of have to play that Smoke and Mirrors. Hard for them to take up straight up fights now, I think, now that they are behind in gold. Typically, I'd say, well, the Trundle gets a lot of value. This is what I thought might happen later into, in the draft when I saw it. This is what I thought might happen in this game. Of course, Tien had such a good advantage early on, played the early jungle pattern so well. I think, largely, Tien has been the better jungler today, even. All things said and done, even though they might be going out 1 and 3, he has been very, very good. A man on a mission. IG, though, ahead in the game now, and all that effort might be for naught.
It's certainly a consideration, because I will, again, give credit to JJ. This has been a miserable game to play Sejuani, and actually, considering that, the triage play, so to speak, just trying to stem the bleeding, has been pretty solid from the Sejuani. That gold lead drop. That's a 5k swing.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Dragon now up in 30 seconds. No soul point for anyone. It would only be the... So it's not threat of soul for the next one. IG, remember, they still absolutely can lose fights. I think what will be particularly important to Shine not having flash if there is a good enough Abscond Abduct, Public Execution, Trundle Pillar onto the Shy. A lot of the gold goes with it. He doesn't have his Cyrildas built up just yet. He's not going to be completely hammering down on the Trundle. Dragon spawning now.
Nico needs to be a little wary, but it's all well and good.
Belt used to block the Celestial opposition. Walking into the river, Dragon started.
Eyes on Rookie as well. He just picked up an Infinity Edge, has managed to basically
The shiny needs to be so careful. The shiny needs to be so careful. Here we go.
Has to dodge quite a lot. Ura trying to speed himself up, but that acceleration gate and the footwork is phenomenal. Now in a 4v3 on the other side, damage being done. Dragonstone started up by Rookie, who is managing to stack the Q3. Shot back into the massive Showmaker. They'll try and make them battle as the Fate Seal comes on through. Damage back is solid. Trying to get a hold of the set, but there's still doing a lot of damage as Rookie goes back into the base, so down low. They're winning the play. Look at the Shy, who's still alive. TN finally rooted up, doing some work as he gets the Permafrost stacked on top of the Shy very low. Not going to get any more value as the Cosmic Drive comes on through. Rookie is resetting. They killed Gala, but somehow the rest of IG survive.
Weibo, get the Dragon. That could have been the play they needed. Teleport back in. They're trying to complete the play.
Back step from Breathe will now begin to Dracon step away. Pillar does not keep JJ out necessarily, but they can't get the last two members.
Tien is very hard to kill. He is very, very hard to kill. It's the reason why they walk away with more people alive at the end of that. Even with that, Weibo could have, I think, slam dunked this game. I think if they manage to get that pick onto the Shy, that could be enough kills that they could end the game, maybe. Death Time is getting spooky at this point in the game, but they missed that initial pick. Teleport's now back out onto the map. Breathe trying to push up on top side. Afraid that Baron's getting started. In fact, it might be. JJ walking over. Tien is alive. Baron hasn't been started. Teleport's just to push waves.
That is a 4-item Jace versus a 2-item Ambessa. I don't really think the Ambessa's played that badly. She's just not been involved in anything.
She's been tried to, of course. Breathe, try and get that public execution. It is his best champion, I think, in recent days. IG not able to get a quick revenge Baron for the Dragon going over. Weibo behind a little bit in gold, but oh man, how powerful is this Trundle? Has the ultimate up again, level 16, will steal so many resists from JJ. It's going down, it's gone.
There we go. Tien now potentially at the front line has thrown down subject Vader. Also public execution of the backside gets Breathe on him, but the other side, Rookie with the Fate Seal. Tempered Fate after leaves people in a really tricky position. Xiao needs to get away. Has still got the hijack Fate Seal. Ura gets the Face Breaker trying to buy time for his team. Is in danger. Flash to the skies onto Tien. The magical journey. Hello, Troll. With the rest of the team. IG go on forward and claim that one. Xiao who's clearing the wave to prevent the Baron shove.
Xiaohu trying to take a wave to make sure that the game doesn't end here. Needs to E over the wall. Does he have a quick reset? I think he does just about. Won't have that interrupted. Weibo lose the Baron and lose 3 members. He'll get the recall in time. He'll get it in time. He's safe. He's out. Didn't put that shock blast down. Xiaohu gets out safely.
Got very worried there because the Shy had read it right. Just doesn't quite find him. All the while the Rookie playing on the other side here. Will get a hold of this tier 2. Swing. And murders that one down.
He gets that top lane inner. The rest of the team gets the mid lane inner. Weibo on elimination point. Had a gold lead this game. Blue side, their beloved blue side. Not been enough to save them this series. Now down over 7,000 gold. 5,000 Baron power play to the side of IG. A similarly good one to the one they had before. Baron got taken so quickly. Melee synergy with Juan getting great objective damage. Solo dive in from the Breathe, not comboed up with everyone. Ends in a 1v3 on the other side. Rookie, double ultimate. Great value from him on that Fate Sealed. Rookie been waiting to impact this game a little more. Finally gets a chance to do it there.
Ura tries to drive Rookie away, but he's already got his soul bound. He doesn't really do all that much. I feel like the set value earlier was fantastic. Has struggled in these last few fights to truly get on top of people. And I think Weibo's gaming lack of range is beginning to hurt them a little bit.
Shy is ahead. 4.4 thousand gold.
He's back to a positive KDA. He's 555.
And look, he was at 1 and 5, folks. This is a very difficult game for the Jace to play, and he was punished accordingly. Weibo played their composition to punish the Jace, and it worked well. However, haven't been able to do that for forever. He's now almost full build. He's going to be almost 2 items over Breathe, an item and a half with that amount of gold. And IG, they might just have clutched it through JJ's Smite Keep, through the Baron Steel. IG caught a little bit there. Stolen Tempered Fate, not enough.
Trying to buy some time. Xiaohu looking for the playmaking. The King of Spring about to be dethroned. Another Tempered Fate. Show them exactly how it's done. Ura will show stopper to the backside. Gala goes up into the air. Featherfall. Flash. Mako alive. Redemption and heal. Into the backside goes Xiao trying to get some value. He does get some. He goes golden. To the backside. Gala throwing out as many feathers as he can. Xiaohu up into the air with the stolen. The hijack Feather Storm. But the feathers won't give him the wings. Homo Fugue. The wings melt off Icarus. Hits the dirt. Weibo are going home. IG have done it. Breathe and Tien must hold the line against 3. Desperation as the Baron minions crash, fall into the turrets. 1 down. Permafrost, and on ice goes the Troll. Ice in his veins. His natural habitat looking too much even for him.
IG, so long they have gone without results, will finally return to top 4 in the LPL. They will await the winner of Top Esports and WE. The super team knocked out in the first round of winter, moved to top 4 in spring.
They call it Keynote for a reason. IG